By some miracle, our female lead reincarnated as Shelina at the ending of the novel Princess Ella. As in the original story, Shelina is a truly pitiful girl, unrecognized as a family member by her father and brother. They heartlessly abandoned her in an orphanage, where she was severely bullied and ostracized. Unable to bear a weak and fragile life like the character in the story, Shelina resolved to start anew. To achieve this, she approached Duke Violet and, within a month, was adopted by him. Could Shelina truly enjoy the life of a young lady in such a short time? Would her father and brother cause any more trouble? Let's follow her new journey. I just wanted to find my family, to be loved by everyone, but why? Shelina tried to prove to her father, "It's really me, the child from 18 years ago. It's me." Unexpectedly, her father's cold words stunned her. Where's the proof? These words made Shelina question herself. Have I been wishing for the impossible? Because my spirit power has been completely stolen. It's very fragile. But even so, father should recognize me. However, the more Shelina hoped, the harsher her father's words became. So weak. You are not my child, Shelina. You will be imprisoned in the spirit mirror. Just as she was about to cry out, Azalea suddenly appeared, hugging her father's arm. Azalea's image became clear in Shelina's eyes, triggering a memory. So, it's her Azalea, the one who stole my spirit power in my previous life. As they walked away, her father said to Azalea, "My child passed away 18 years ago." These words of rejection made Shelina's heart ache even more. That's right, that child has passed away, hasn't she? Yes, father, I'm not your child, Princess Juliana, the one everyone calls the villainess. The real Princess Juliana, due to the Empress's scheme, was sent to the orphanage and live a lonely life until old age. The real Princess Juliana's spirit power was completely stolen by the fake Princess Azalea, and she suffered a very tragic ending. This is the ending of Princess Ella that I read. Shirley suddenly woke up. She looked at her current reflection in the glass window, exclaiming, "So tiny, why did I have to transmigrate into Shirley, who has such a tragic ending? Is it because I was constantly abused and mistreated by the orphanage director as a child that my original memories are almost gone now? She always yelled at Shirley with harsh words. You pathetic thing. Tonight, I'll starve you until you're almost dead." Even though I was beaten to a pulp by the director, I could only silently endure it. It hurt so much. But the words Shirley heard when she met her family. Shirley received cold words from the very people she considered her family. You are not my daughter. Even her older brother didn't acknowledge her as his sister. My only sister is Azalea. Shelina despairingly asked herself, will that scenario become my future? But a moment later, she regained her spirit, determined, I won't live like her. While she was cleaning the windows, someone suddenly came running to find her. Shelina, what are you doing here? Once you're done cleaning, hurry up and prepare dinner. This bossy child was Telline, the orphanage director's minion, and the one who always bullied her. Shelina hurriedly ran off at her demand. I know, I'm going now. Just when everything seemed like it would end there, Telline played a dirty trick, tripping Shelina while she was running, and a horrified scream escaped Shelina's lips. Somehow, Telline kindly reached out and tightly hugged her. Shelina's eyes widened in surprise as she looked at Telline's face. Strange. Why did Telline catch me? Why would she catch me? Telline put on an innocent face, pretending to ask, Tripped? Are you okay? Shelina could only reply, I'm fine. With her intuition, Shelina felt something was wrong. Is she planning to bully me again? Did she stick something on my back? As soon as she saw Shelina reach behind her, Telline quickly made an excuse, grabbing her hand and saying, Of course you're okay. As soon as she finished speaking, Telline excitedly pulled Shelina along. Don't delay. Let's go to the dining hall quickly. Shelina panicked and replied, I know. Let's go slowly. Finally, they arrived at the dining hall, where Telline immediately delegated a task to Shelina. Hold this, she ordered. I'll go dish out the potatoes, and you can carry this. Can you even manage that? Due to her small stature, no matter how much Shelina strained, she couldn't reach the handles. Wait, I can't reach it. Watching from the side, Telline grew impatient. Just wait, she snapped. Seeing Telline walk away, Shelina quickly seized the opportunity. Perfect, this is my chance. She reached behind her back, checking to see if Telline had played any tricks. Suddenly, Shalina felt something bulky in her pocket. She froze as she saw what she held in her hand. It was a sparkling diamond ring. The headmistress's ring. The headmistress is the only one in the orphanage with a ring like this. If this goes on, and I'm falsely accused of stealing, I'll surely be beaten to death. Just then, Telline returned. Shalina looked at Telline with dread. Telline had returned with a stool. Here, she said angrily to Shalina. Now you can carry it. Suddenly, as if from nowhere, Telline slipped, sending food scattering across the table. Seeing Telline sprawled on the floor, Shalina cried out in alarm. What do I do? Telline was walking over here and suddenly fell. She rushed to Telline's side. Telline, are you all right? Are you hurt? Hearing the commotion, the headmistress came running to see what had happened. What's all this noise? Telline quickly looked up and cried out, Headmistress! The headmistress reached Telline and demanded, Telline, what did you do? Telline's face paled. Trembling, she said, Headmistress, it wasn't me. It was Shalina. Telline immediately shifted all the blame onto Shalina. She tripped me. Yes, I clearly felt something trip me. Shalina was stunned by Telline's practiced fabrication. She could only cry out in frustration. Telline, I was the first one worried about you when you fell. How can you say that? The other children who had witnessed the incident began to criticize Telline. She tripped herself, and now she's blaming Shalina. That's too much. She always bullies us and lies. Telline's a liar. Exposed in front of the headmistress, Telline could only pout in resentment. If I lose this round, I'll just play another. Telline quickly changed the subject. But, headmistress, please check Shalina. I saw something shiny in Shalina's pocket earlier. I'm sure it was the headmistress's ring. Hearing this, the headmistress flew into a rage. What, Shalina? Telline turned and looked at Shalina with a sly smile. Everything was going according to her plan. The headmistress, furious, began to berate Shalina mercilessly. I feed you, clothe you, raise you, and you dare steal my ring? I'm so angry. You little thief. Shalina could only sit and endure, looking pathetically at the headmistress. Determined to prove her innocence, Shalina didn't hesitate to remove her clothes. She boldly declared to the headmistress, I didn't steal anything. See, there's nothing, right? Telline couldn't have anticipated this. Impossible. I clearly saw it. Believe me, headmistress. Whispers rippled through the crowd, but Shalina hadn't been anywhere near the headmistress's room today, had she? She was only cleaning on the first floor today. That's right, I saw her too. Telline must be lying. Flustered and annoyed, Telline stubbornly insisted, no, she stole it before. Seeing her weakness, Shalina seized the opportunity to expose her. You just said today, but now you're changing your story. Telline, that's strange, isn't it? Shalina said, fixing Telline with a sharp gaze. Telline's haughty expression crumbled as all the evidence pointed back at her. Only Telline went to the headmistress's room today. Come to think of it, that was right. The headmistress's gaze shifted to Telline. She grabbed Telline's arm and pulled her aside. With a sharp tug, the headmistress's ring, to Telline's utter disbelief, tumbled out of her own pocket. Impossible. I clearly put it in Shalina's pocket. Telline recalled the moment she brought the chair over to Shalina. Here you go. Now you can. The moment Shalina had deliberately tripped her, sending Telline sprawling, was also the moment she was most unguarded, vulnerable to everyone around her. In that instant, Shalina had rushed over, feigning concern. Are you all right? Are you hurt? It was then, in that precise moment, that Shalina had slipped the headmistress's ring into Telline's pocket. Back in the present, Telline cried, desperately trying to defend herself. It wasn't me. It was Shalina. The headmistress, her face an impassive mask, stared coldly at her and delivered a stinging slap across Telline's face. A pained scream echoed through the room. Telline crumpled to the floor, trembling, as the headmistress's voice grew harsher. You little worm, I raised you, and you dare steal from me? I gave you food and shelter, and you dare steal from me? Telline sobbed, broken. No, it wasn't me. The headmistress raised her hand, poised to strike Telline again. You ungrateful wretch. Suddenly, Shalina darted forward, interposing herself between them. Headmistress, she pleaded, her voice thick with false sympathy. I believe Telline has her reasons. The headmistress scowled, her voice sharp. Step aside, Shalina. Shalina remained steadfast, her body shielding Telline. But Telline truly didn't mean to steal from you. After repeated pleas, the headmistress shoved Juliana roughly aside. Then, with a roar, she commanded, Get out. Get out of here this instant. With that, she dragged Telline away like a sack of garbage. Line could only struggle weakly. No, not today. It was too hard to get this opportunity. Too hard. I am sorry. Shalina was taken aback by Telline's strange words. What does that mean? Thinking back, Telline had seemed more anxious than usual today. Her clothes were different from usual, and she was cleaning the school from early morning. I think I'm starting to remember. Duke Violet, a family that uses special spirit energy instead of magic. Just looking at them makes other people instinctively afraid, so they are called the Cursed Family. This family used to adopt orphans from the orphanage to clear their bad reputation. Today is that day. This is also my chance. Anyway, if I want to live well in the future, I need to live with the Duke's support. Shalina, I won't live like you, because the one who abandoned you wasn't family. Shalina stood in the courtyard, sweeping the ground, a grim expression on her face. I'm glad I secured a spot near the main gate. Purposely working near the gate like this, to be the first to see the Duke, must have meaning, right? Suddenly, the children outside began to cheer incessantly. So shiny. Oh my God, a carriage as big as our orphanage. Shalina, with her sharp ears, immediately realized her target had arrived. She quickly straightened herself, then practiced a dazzling smile, ready to greet him. Feigning innocence, Shalina went to open the gate. Who is it? Two men stood before her. This person is Duke Violet. Black hair, purple eyes, definitely Duke Violet. And the person with him is the Duke's son. Juliana told herself, smile. And so, she beamed, offering a bright compliment. Sir, you're so handsome. The boy looked at Juliana with an affectionate gaze. Amazing. She seized the opportunity to engage him. What's your name? The young prince offered a sunny smile in return. Winder. Juliana froze, her mind racing. Winder? Could it be Windet, the second male lead in the original story and the future Duke? This character turned into a villain because he couldn't win Azalea. According to the original story, he should be 11 years old, but he looks like he's 15. Shalina giggled, calling him Winder. He looked surprised. Amazing. Aren't you afraid of me? At this age, everyone should be crying because of the curse, right? It's obviously because of spirit power. Spirit power, like nature, tends to protect royalty, so it also protects me from the Duke's terrible curse. Duke Violet asked Shalina curiously, how old are you? Violet began, counting on her fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm almost 7. Violet thought to himself. She says she's 6, but she looks even younger. Feigning innocence, Shalina, Juliana, said to Violet, but, Mister, what's your name? You should tell the headmistress when you arrive, so you won't get scolded. He glanced at Shalina, Juliana, and said, just say Violet, they'll know. She quickly grabbed Violet's finger with her small hand. Let's go. Juliana will take you to the headmistress. Shalina's, Juliana's, cute and innocent expression melted Violet's heart. Standing at the door, Shalina knocked and said, Headmistress, we have a visitor. The headmistress quickly replied, My lovely Shalina, thank you for bringing them here. As soon as the headmistress opened the door, Shalina jumped up to introduce him. It's Mr. Violet. The headmistress was surprised by the Duke's visit today. After sitting down, Violet picked up Shalina and said, I'm looking for a child to stay with me for a month. The headmistress bustled around like a busy bee. Although it's a bit humble here, please wait a moment, and I'll find a suitable child for the Duke right away. Violet interrupted her. No need. Shalina's eyes widened in surprise at his words. It was unbelievable that Duke Violet had chosen Shalina without hesitation upon their first meeting. I'll take this child. Violet's words made the headmistress tremble with fear. What? Shalina? This child is a bit, but Violet ignored the headmistress's attitude and gently asked the little girl, Would you like to come with me? Such a handsome face, a gentle and warm voice. Who could refuse? Shalina smiled brightly and agreed. She asked sweetly, But sir, if I go, will I have to do laundry or cleaning? Of course, in Duke Violet's mansion, such tasks wouldn't fall upon Shalina. At the Duke's mansion, you will be treated with the utmost respect. You will eat well, play well, and rest well. You might even appear in the newspapers. Seeing her ask this, Winder interjected, You should have asked that earlier, though. But they didn't know that the protagonist had already read the original story, so there was no need to ask again. Winder looked at the thin little girl with some heartache. You've been overworking yourself from the very beginning, almost to the point of exhaustion. Have you been eating properly? Your skin is practically peeling off. Contrary to her brother's worries, Shalina was full of enthusiasm. I've been working hard, and my body is very healthy. But the truth was, Shalina's arms were as thin as twigs. Look at your arms. It seems I should prepare some delicious food. Winder said with a smile. Father will have his work cut out for him, putting some meat on those bones. The smile in Shalina's eyes was no different from an angel's. So pretty. Overcome by her boundless energy, the protagonist lost her balance and almost fell. She braced herself for the impact, but suddenly her body stopped. A beautiful scene unfolded before Shalina's eyes. Violet had caught her just in time. Like a male protagonist, he asked, "Are you hurt anywhere?" At that moment, Juliana's mind could only hold his face. "No, sir," she replied shyly. "Thank you, sir." At that moment, sitting like a shy puppy, she thought, "I'm so scared. I didn't expect him to protect me, even in these dirty clothes." Saved by an outstretched arm in a moment of danger, just like a father. Even though she was fond of him, she still had to keep a clear head. No, what absurd thoughts are these? The little girl suddenly turned to Winder and asked. Speaking of which, Winder didn't need her to finish. He already knew the question and replied, "I'm not as weak as you. I'm training to be a knight." Shalina remembered that too. Come to think of it, in the original story, he earned the title of the best knight on the continent, right? With an innocent look of excitement, Juliana clapped her hands. "That's amazing." This made him a little embarrassed. "What is?" Finally, the three of them boarded the carriage and returned to the Duke's mansion. "I apologize. The other carriage was driving too fast, so I had to swerve." Inside the carriage, Shalina thought, if they're nobles, why didn't they recognize the Duke's carriage? They almost crashed into us, and they didn't even apologize. How could they? As Shalina's carriage passed the other, she happened to see a crying noble sitting inside. But, strangely, are they crying? Passing the Duke's carriage like that is unacceptable. "Your Grace, should we pursue them?" Violet was about to give the order. "They almost hurt the child. This is unacceptable, so—" But to stop Violet from punishing the people in the other carriage, Shalina quickly changed the subject. "My lord, I'm hungry. My tummy has been rumbling." Violet looked affectionately at the pitiful little girl, so he decided to let the other party go. Carry on. After a long journey, they finally arrived at the mansion. "We're home. This is where I'll be staying for the next month." The place was magnificent, and servants were already waiting at the entrance. "Miss, welcome to the White Rose Mansion." Even though it was beautiful, the scene was quite overwhelming. Winder said, "She's surprised. Let's go inside. Dylan is waiting." Hearing the unfamiliar name, Shalina asked, "Who's Dylan?" "He's my older brother." As the three of them walked into the house, a camera was pointed directly at them. For Shalina, who had never seen a camera before, the sudden flash startled her. Trembling, she hid her face in the Duke's arms, and the two men comforted her, reassuring her. The little girl asked fearfully, tears welling up in her eyes, "What was that?" "It's a camera." Realizing he had offended the young miss, the photographer immediately knelt down and apologized. "I'm so sorry I startled you." Seeing the photographer's reaction, Shalina thought, "What is this? This isn't the usual fear commoners have for nobles. It's like they're fighting against an instinctive dread. This seems to be the Duke family's curse." To prevent the photographer from being punished, Shalina quickly interjected, "I was just a little surprised because it's my first time seeing one. Please take a nice picture of me." The little girl forced a smile. Seeing this, Violet didn't want to punish the commoner. He let him off for the time being. "You may go." As soon as they entered, the mansion's butler greeted Shalina. "Welcome, Mississippi. I am Edgar, the butler of the White Rose Mansion." Shalina gestured to Violet. "What is it? Put me down." She replied politely, "Thank you. I look forward to your assistance." "Mr. Edgar," Edgar replied to his little master, "if you have any inconveniences, no matter how small, please tell me immediately." "Thank you." Seeing the butler's attitude, Shalina was relieved. "It seems he doesn't dislike me." Suddenly, someone appeared behind her and said, "Oh my goodness, she's so small, well-behaved, and cute. You've arrived. This is the housekeeper, Lucy. Lucy will assist you with everything, so please remember her face." Lucy greeted them. "Your Grace, young master, why is the miss dressed like this in such cold weather?" Then, she gently draped a coat over Shalina. Shalina said, "I don't have a coat like this." Lucy smiled affectionately. "Since the weather is getting colder, I prepared this. I wish it were a bit thicker." But to Shalina, the coat was incredibly warm. Suddenly, Shalina's stomach rumbled. "Miss, are you hungry? I'll prepare something to eat right away. We'll take a bath after you've eaten. What would you like to eat?" asked this question for the first time, Shalina was a little flustered. I don't know many kinds of food. What if they laugh at me? Violet seemed to see through her thoughts and instructed, just prepare the best. Then I'll prepare a lot of delicious food. But the better she was treated, the sadder Shalina became, because this preferential treatment would only last a month. I can't get used to this feeling. My heart is melting. At that moment, Dylan was upstairs watching Shalina. He thought, is that the little girl? Dylan had seen the children his father had adopted before. Is that the child? Winder, catching sight of his younger brother, called out, Dylan, what are you doing just sitting there? Startled by the voice, Shalina looked up. Which child? I believe his name is Dylan. Shalina, finally face to face with the entire ducal household, offered a polite greeting. Greetings, everyone. Please allow me to formally introduce myself. My name is Shalina, and I am 6 years old. Thank you for inviting me here. I am very pleased to be here. Violet, concerned that the small child wasn't dressed warmly enough and was standing on the cold floor, scooped her up into his arms. Shalina, he began, I hope you enjoy your stay here for the next month. At the Duke's words, the little girl corrected him. Not Shalina, it's Shalina. Violet, taken aback by the child's quick wit, chuckled. Just to clarify, he continued, the little one has some trouble pronouncing her name clearly. Her name is Juliana. You heard it at the orphanage as well. He hadn't expected such a sharp mind in such a young child. I thought you wanted me to call you that. Shalina fumed inwardly. At this moment, I wish I could replace this tongue, this wretched tongue. I'm not a baby monster, so why am I like this? Dylan, bewildered by Shalina's words, turned to Winder. Why did she say not Shalina, but Shalina? Those two names sound exactly the same. Winder sighed. Dylan, please introduce yourself. This is Juliana. Dylan, finding the little girl rather peculiar, was curious. Can't even pronounce her own name clearly. How troublesome. What's your nickname? Winder, noticing his brother's bluntness, nudged him. Dylan, you have to tell her your name first. Dylan, thus reminded, offered a polite introduction. I'm Dylan. This elicited an extremely enthusiastic response from Juliana. What a beautiful name. Like father, like son. Dylan, his face flushing slightly at the unexpected praise, mumbled, my name as well. It's a little bit beautiful. Shalina observed this interaction with a calculating mind. What is this? Why is this family so lenient towards me? They aren't wary at all. Indeed, it's natural that no one gets close to them because of the curse. It's sad. They are such kind people. Dylan, emboldened by her enthusiasm, took a friendly step closer. So, what's your nickname? A child like Shalina, raised in an orphanage, had no concept of nickname. Nickname? Shalina? I don't have a nickname. Hearing this, Violet muttered thoughtfully, a nickname. Then, a spark of inspiration in his eyes, he decided to bestow a nickname upon the adorable little girl. Shoo-shoo. It was the first time Shalina had ever received a nickname, and a thrill shot through her. Shoo-shoo? It sounds cute. I think I like it. Does the Duke think I'm cute? The Duke, with a warm smile, explained, because you're like a souffle. He elaborated, meaning to say souffle. The little girl, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, asked, what's a souffle? If you bake the outer shell, it becomes a soft bread, like a souffle. So let's go with the name Shoo-shoo. Shalina felt a pang of disappointment. Bread? It's named after bread? My first nickname. Even Dylan had to admit, however, that the nickname suited her. Truly, you look white and bright. You like it once you taste one. Winder, concerned about Shoo-shoo's rumbling stomach, stood up. Father, the kitchen should have the food ready by now. Shall we go to the dining room? Violet nodded. Yes, let's go. Winder effortlessly lifted the small girl, as if she weighed no more than a sweet treat. Let's go, Shoo-shoo. Shalina, seeing the genuine fondness in Winder's eyes, felt a flicker of reassurance. But why is this family so affectionate? If they don't get close to me, they'll be cursed? Dylan, watching his older brother carry Shalina, asked with a puzzled frown, Brother, why are you carrying her like she's luggage? Winder's reply stunned Shalina. Look at your legs. What if Shoo-shoo gets hurt while walking? Dylan, not to be outdone, added, That's right. Then I'll carry her when you're not around. She was starting to find the brother's attentiveness a bit smothering, but Dylan's offer was immediately shot down by Winder. You're still insufficiently strong, so you can't. When you can swing a sword 1,000 times consecutively, then I'll allow it. Shalina was astonished by these words. Why would you say that? But if it was Winder who said it, and Winder would later become a renowned knight of the Empire, then it must be possible. Dylan, upon hearing the stipulation, didn't complain, but readily agreed. 1,000 times? All right, I'll train hard, so I won't be a burden when Shushu gets hurt. As they settled down to eat, the housekeeper suddenly exclaimed, "Oh my, you look like such close siblings." This caused Juliana a moment of awkwardness. Siblings? If only they were true. A loving father and brothers, and a life of affluence. Perhaps I could live a comfortable life, free from any threats. Unlike now, when I was born a princess, my life was threatened, Shalina murmured. If only you were truly my family. But it's so nice to meet you like this. A warm, sibling-like affection seemed to flow between Winder and Shalina. Seeing his little sister struggle to pronounce his name, Winder said gently, "My name is difficult to pronounce, so you can call me Winder." "Yes, Brother Winder." Witnessing this, Dylan, the youngest brother, wasn't to be outdone. "I'll also grant you special permission to call me Brother Dylan. Even though you're not my real sister, you seem specifically sincere, so I'll make an exception." Dylan's face wore a look of haughty indifference, but he was undeniably endearing. Shalina felt a surge of joy at the prospect of living here. "Thank you, Brother Dylan." Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound echoed. What was that? Oh, Shushu's face is all red. Do you have a fever? A savior arrived just in time. "We have prepared a meal for the young masters and miss." Lucy, the housekeeper, brought in the food at precisely the right moment. As the dishes were unveiled on the table, young Shalina was utterly astonished. For a young girl abandoned at a young age, this was the first time she had ever seen such a feast. But how could her small frame possibly consume this table laden with food? Her newfound brothers attended to Shalina at the table. "It's just food." "Oh, and this is a souffle." Shalina carefully examined the cake, still unsure of what it was. She asked her brothers, "Does this cake look like me?" Confirmation came swiftly. Exactly the same, not a single difference. You have to take a big bite to fully appreciate the flavor. The taste sent a wave of emotion through her. Really, truly, poor Shalina. It's so delicious. Tears welled in her eyes, moved by the exquisite taste of the cake. As she ate, she thought to herself that her life had finally taken a turn for the better. From now on, I'll only eat delicious things. I'll do everything for her that Shalina couldn't. Suddenly, something in the cake caught in Shalina's throat. Her unusual reaction alarmed both Winder and Dylan. "Shushu, what's wrong?" Lucy, too, was anxious at Shalina's strange expression. Shalina, in that moment, the girl couldn't understand what was in her mouth. "It hurts." "No, I'm going to be sick." Lucy quickly brought a bucket for Shalina and patted her back. "Don't hold back. Just let it out, Mississippi." Shalina's face gradually paled, and everything became blurry, leaving only the clamor of voices around her. Dimly, she thought, "Wake me up when Shalina wakes up." When Shalina next saw light, she found herself standing in a field of golden grass. She walked unconsciously, a thought echoing in her mind. "This voice, it's deep like a man's. I know this place." Shalina followed the voice to a tree in the center of the field. "Is that Shalina's adult body?" The voice continued. "Only you can wake me up. This place." As the young girl turned, a spatial doorway appeared. "It's in the mirror of souls, the sealed world of souls." While unconscious, Shalina couldn't see anything, only hearing the echoing cries around her. "Shushu, miss!" Her head throbbed, and she slowly opened her eyes, wondering, "Where am I?" She realized she was lying in bed, surrounded by people and inquiries. "Now that you're awake, how are you feeling?" "Shushu, are you all right?" Were these men worried about her? Shalina still couldn't believe those concerned gazes were directed at her. Waking up to such concern instead of bleak solitude was a first for her, and she didn't know how to react. A man approached and said, "Miss, I am the attending physician of the Duke's mansion. My name is Baden. Are you feeling any discomfort?" Seeing the stranger, the young girl immediately sat up, but the doctor reassured her. "Please answer slowly. Don't strain yourself, Mississippi. What did you eat at the orphanage? Have you ever eaten food like you did today?" Shalina's throat tightened, and she stammered, I ate cabbage and potato soup." Based on Shalina's symptoms, Baden surmised she'd suddenly ingested a large amount of nutrients. The problem, however, was the cream, which upset her stomach. While it had been delicious, she now needed to stick to bland food and take the prescribed medicine. It was a punishment of sorts for the little glutton, ruining herself because she couldn't resist the orphanage's rich food. Might as well ruin everything. Violet and his sons anxiously inquired, "Are you all right? You've been unconscious for 2 days. We've been so worried." Shalina's heart churned with conflicting emotions at their words. Worried about me? But why? Because the child they brought in for some purpose collapsed? Why would they bother with me? Winder had been avoiding her gaze. Do I smell bad again? The smell? Oh my goodness. The young girl was truly a queen of overthinking. Her thoughts spiraled. For someone who threw up after eating and was unconscious for 2 days, not being able to bathe, am I any different from a rat? The luxurious bed she lay upon brought a fresh wave of anxiety. I can't let this filthy body ruin something so precious. I'm so dirty right now. Seeing Shelina suddenly sit up, Winder said worriedly, wait, don't move. You could get up slowly now and then have a bath. Then, Violet instructed Lucy, the housekeeper. Yes, Your Grace. Violet responded quickly. Take Shelina to the bath. He added a peculiar instruction, without the children. His cryptic command piqued Shelina's curiosity. What is he talking about? The mixture of coldness and concern in their eyes made it impossible for Shelina to relax. The Duke's expression was somber. Shelina questioned herself. What should I do to be loved? Just then, the kind housekeeper spoke. Miss, this was supposed to be a time for you to enjoy delicious food, but are you feeling better now? Shelina replied shyly. Oh yes. My hair is a little. Worry nodded her. I can't be afraid, but looking into Lucy's eyes, I can't lie. Lucy responded. His Grace said that even in any matter, he must respect your opinion, Mississippi. He said that you are a good child, patient with pain, and carefully observe everything around you. Hearing this, Shelina relaxed slightly. Because of his previous grim expression, I thought he was angry, but he said such things. He noticed that I've been looking around and was nervous. I feel a little nauseous. Lucy, ever the kind housekeeper, continued to inquire after Shelina's well-being. Miss, aren't you afraid of His Grace or the young masters? Do you feel hot or shivery? Knowing she was overstepping, Lucy couldn't help but add, this is a private matter, but they have a powerful energy. I don't know if it's because of that energy, but everyone is afraid of the Duke and the young masters. The young masters were also worried that being around you constantly might make you sick. So, all of Shelina's misunderstandings finally unraveled. That wasn't a reason. The attending physician said everyone avoids them because of a curse that's been passed down for generations. So everyone in the mansion, including Violet and his sons, gradually got used to that idea. They must have suffered a lot because of that curse. So worried, right here, right now, the girl had an answer. I don't think so. On the contrary, everyone is so kind to me, so I'm happy. Overjoyed, she wanted to run and clear up the misunderstanding. At this moment, I'm also worried that the Duke will think I'm a child who doesn't understand etiquette. Hearing Shelina's reply, Lucy breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Now, please change into new clothes. I'll take you to the dressing room. For a little girl who grew up in an orphanage with only 2 sets of clothes, this was heaven. Everything was high-end, beautifully designed. Oh my goodness, so many clothes. The maid asked gently, do you like them? These are the clothes His Grace prepared for you. Please choose the clothes you want to wear. Shelina walked over and picked out an outfit. I'll wear this one. Do you like this dress? I'll help you change. There wasn't much time, so these are ready-made. A tailor will be called soon to make clothes specifically for you. His Grace instructed us to prepare everything as if you were entering the royal family. Shelina thought to herself, the Duke is truly too kind. He did all of this for me. Recalling their first meeting, the Duke had been so respectful. He asked for my opinion, and he pays attention to detail. I really don't want these kind people to be misunderstood or hurt. Her resolve hardened. She couldn't delay any longer. She hurried towards where Violet was. At this moment, Shelina had only one wish. Please listen to me. Winder and Violet were surprised to see Shelina suddenly running towards them. Shoo shoo. The girl, looking at the people who had been caring for her so wholeheartedly, couldn't hold back her tears. Then, her voice choked with emotion, she stammered, I don't like it when Brother Winder avoids me. You kept avoiding my gaze earlier, and it made me so sad. I love the Duke very much, and I like Brother Winder too. I also like Brother Dylan and you, Lucy. I like this house. Leaving the orphanage and coming here, I feel like this place is heaven. Every word Shelina spoke felt like a stone falling from her chest. No one cared about Shelina there. I was looked down upon, treated like a dirty orphan. I hated that place. No one liked me. All Shelina received were beatings and harsh scoldings. She was always left out, feeling utterly alone. At the orphanage, Shelina was a child unworthy of love. That place was like a dark prison for a child. I'm a useless child. Each word broke Winder and Violet's hearts. Since I was born, this is the first time I've met so many good people and been with them, embracing me without hesitation, holding my hand. I'm happy now. I understand why I felt anxious when I was with these people. These people are just like me, lonely in this world just like me. The little girl spoke through a stream of tears. Shalina was abandoned by her family, and the Duke's family was cursed to be isolated. Why are you all avoiding me? Violet rushed forward and tightly embraced the pitiful little girl. If you avoid me now, I'll be very sad. Please don't avoid me. Violet held Juliana tightly, like a happy family, a father and 3 children, so warm. Winder gently wiped the tears from his sister's face. You're not a dirty orphan. Here, you're my little sister. These words were like the best medicine for Shalina. At that moment, Violet was also concerned for her. You just woke up not long ago. Crying like this will drain your energy. Your eyes are all red, like a poor little rabbit. Wait inside, I'll get you some soup. Shalina felt the love of the family she had never experienced before. She gently wiped away her tears of happiness and replied, yes. Shalina excitedly showed her new clothes to her adoptive father. Look, Duke, are they pretty? Violet observed them carefully and gave his opinion. Lovely. This made Juliana very happy. To ordinary people, lovely was just a compliment. But to an overthinker like Juliana, the meaning of lovely was much deeper. Lovely in the Duke's eyes? Like a dragonfly? I'm a dragonfly. The weather is so nice. But when Shalina thought about it again, something felt a little off. A dragonfly's wings. The little girl couldn't help but admire her new clothes. Look at this. This is the first time I've tried wearing clothes like these. But as the girl lifted her skirt, the first thing Violet saw were the little girl's skinny legs. Nothing but skin and bones, like twigs. Worried about his daughter's health, Violet immediately said, eat while the soup is still hot. But the little girl seemed to misunderstand that he was changing the subject. A plate of exquisite, steaming soup was brought out. Of course, this was the first time she had seen such a dish. Shoo, sit here. Not only that, but the Duke even personally fed the little girl each spoonful. Here, open your mouth. Shalina was a little surprised, but she obediently opened her mouth. However, as soon as Violet placed a spoonful of soup inside, a problem arose. This soup, it just came out of the pot. It's too hot. The little girl's tongue was burned, and she struggled. It's hot, so hot. Violet panicked. Shalina, what's wrong? Are you all right? Lucy rushed over, startled by the scene. Oh my goodness, Your Grace, what happened? The worried Duke replied. Lucy, Shalina seems to still be in pain. I fed her some soup, but she spat it all out. Miss, are you all right? Shalina, fighting back tears, explained. The soup was too hot, but the Duke kept feeding it to me. It really burned. Lucy, understanding the situation, praised the young girl. You didn't cry out loud. You're such a good child. Your Grace, you must blow on the soup before feeding it to the Mississippi. Here is some cool water. Please have her rinse her mouth. Violet was a warm father, but seemed a bit inexperienced. Your body is weak, and so is your tongue. Your Grace, anyone would be in pain after eating something so hot. But according to Violet's memories, his 2 children, Wendy and Dale, hadn't reacted like that. Nina, hearing this, didn't know what to say. You can't compare the constitution of the Grand Duke's family to that of ordinary people. Despite the burn, the little girl managed a weak smile. The Duke didn't do it on purpose. I'm all right, but why did you suddenly feed me soup? Violet, hearing this, replied with a pang of heartache. You're too thin. If you want to grow taller, you must eat more. So, if you drink your soup and take your medicine properly, you'll become healthy. Then, I'll give you a special gift, one I've never given to any other child. Shalina's eyes widened with curiosity as she asked the Duke, really? Of course it's true. Pinky swear, just like our promise. I give you my word. In another mansion, a nobleman was waiting in a carriage. The coachman respectfully opened the door. Sir, are you all right? I'm fine. Let's go quickly. The nobleman's carriage began to move. He felt a pang of sadness and worry, and inadvertently glanced out the window, catching sight of the Duke's carriage, which was waiting for Shalina. The young man thought, it must be nice inside. The more he thought about it, the more resentful he became, the more heartbroken he felt. A gust of wind blew, carrying with it a voice that echoed in his mind. This calling keeps echoing. My child, I've been looking for you for 6 years. According to custom, sons who die at birth are cremated within 3 days. The Empress gave birth to a frail child and couldn't endure the pain of childbirth, so she passed away. That's all I heard from my other wife, the imperial consort Elena. Everyone thought the act of searching for a dead child was strange, but I believed the child was still alive. There was no reason for the child to die. I clearly felt the power of the soul. Even though he knew it was absurd, after the child's birth, the man continued to search for his missing son. He traveled from dawn till dusk, visiting orphanages all over the country, clinging to a sliver of hope. After a long and fruitless day, the man returned to his mansion. "Lucas, what are you doing?" The child replied cheerfully, "Father, I'm thinking about what to do when Shalina comes. When Shalina comes, I'm going to personally teach her swordsmanship, and I'm going to hold her every day." It was a beautiful picture painted by a child's innocent thoughts. "I want to see Shalina soon, Father." His eldest son, Lucas, longed to see the younger sister left behind by his deceased mother. Lucas was the only one in the imperial palace who believed his sister was still alive. "The gifts from my sister keep piling up, but my once hopeful face grows increasingly gloomy. My first daughter, Ella. Father, I love you. Father, I brought you this flower. Elena's daughter. I married her as promised, to produce an heir. This young lady came from a less powerful family. The Empress, I feel sorry for her, but I don't want to have a child with the imperial consort. Ozila is a child I simply cannot love. Everyone tells me to bury my youngest daughter deep in my heart and raise the living children well. But how can I forget my missing child? I want to see her, even just once. If I haven't found her yet, I must search even harder. I will absolutely not give up. I will definitely find her. Where are you wandering? Come back to your father's arms, my dear Shiina." While the emperor relentlessly searched for his missing daughter, the little girl was living a very happy life with her new family. Shalina was innocently playing with her younger brother, Dylan. "Shalina, come here." "Brother, I'm coming." The little girl thought to herself, "If I hadn't gone looking for that dog earlier, I would have already run over several times by now." Dylan was such a thoughtful brother. "Tired from exercising, are you? Here, eat this. Both are for you. Especially don't tell our older brother, okay? What could make a child happier than receiving candy? So yummy. I love sweets. You're the best, Dylan. If my sister praises me, I have a chance to brag to my older brother. See, Shalina likes me the most." Meanwhile, Winder was focused on studying something. "Brother, what have you been writing every day lately?" No response. How boring. Shalina, also known as Juliana, peeked and thought, "He's recording my activities again." The health plan is also arranged with the attending physician. Could my fainting spell have been that shocking to them? Winder diligently wrote for a while and finally closed his notebook. The first thing he did was play with his sister. "Come, Shalina, come here." And so, the brothers' war for their sister's attention began again. But what could she do? Winder was handsome, and in the future, he would become the top knight in the country. "Oh well, I guess I'll just have to endure it. I'm coming." Dylan couldn't give up so easily. "Shalina, I'll teach you swordsmanship, so come here." Both brothers called out at the same time, so how could she decide? It's tiring when you both call me at the same time. As long as there was a reason, Dylan wasn't afraid to approach Juliana, but his running posture was a little strange. Walking in front of my sister, holding a sword like that. Immediately after, a sword blocked Dylan's randomly swinging sword. Winder arrived just in time to protect his sister. "Shalina, it's dangerous." Almost. Putting his sister in danger made Winder incredibly angry. "You didn't grasp the situation, swinging your sword so recklessly. Are you even Xing?" Dylan hadn't considered that his actions could hurt his sister. Tears welled up in his eyes as he hurriedly apologized. "Oh, Shalina, I'm really sorry. Are you hurt?" Shalina, looking at her brother who at this moment resembled a scolded puppy, burst out laughing. "You're so cute." Dylan replied, embarrassed. "Huh, how can I be cute at a time like this? Is it okay to make fun of your brother like that? But you're also very cute." Violet, standing upstairs, saw the three siblings playing happily together, a heartwarming sight. Just then, the results of Violet's investigation into Shalina's past arrived. "Your Grace, the investigation into the orphanage where the young miss resided has been completed. Report. The children I saw were all in a state of extreme hunger and thirst. Like the young miss, they likely didn't have enough food and water." Hearing this, the Duke's gaze sharpened. Violet asked, "What else?" "The children weren't wearing season-appropriate clothing either. Aside from the director's room, The cold permeated the entire orphanage. Looking at the state of the orphanage, it seems the director embezzled a large sum of money. If the funds provided by your grace were used properly, even without private donations, they shouldn't be in such dire straits. After hearing the whole truth, Violet couldn't imagine what the children had endured in recent months. Audacious. Even the subordinates who had followed the Duke for many years had never seen him so angry. His grace, always so calm, is actually so enraged. What in the world, with the Duke's love, that young miss might truly become a real? This young miss, Violet mused, a decision forming in his mind. He turned to his subordinate, Cahill. Bring Shalina here. As you wish, Cahill replied. Shalina, a thrill coursing through her at the Duke's summons, hurried into the room. The Duke called for me, she thought, her heart fluttering with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Even she couldn't guess what he wanted. Usually, we only see each other at meal times or for tea. I wonder what's happened. Shalina, come and sit down, the Duke said. The little girl happily perched on the plush chair, but a flicker of unease touched her as she caught sight of Violet's expression. Violet, ever direct, cut straight to the point. Shalina, what do you think of the orphanage? Shalina's thoughts raced. The orphanage? Why so suddenly? The Duke's face looks much more frightening than usual today. So cold. He's never shown me that expression before. Does he not like me? Is he planning to send me back to the orphanage? The thought sent a wave of uncertainty crashing over her. I haven't even been at the Duke's residence for 2 full weeks. Did I do something wrong? What should I do? Think, Juliana, think your way through this. Should I say I'll pose more enthusiastically for the advertisements? Or should I earnestly plead for sympathy? Or should I showcase my intelligence? Or should I say I'll do anything he asks of me? Which option is the wisest? Think, she spoke, her voice trembling slightly. Is it because you don't need me anymore? Is that why you're sending me back to the orphanage? Do I have to go back? Violet, seeing the distress in his daughter's eyes, rushed to reassure her. Wait, Shelley, what are you talking about? Shalina, what do you mean, don't need? Who's been gossiping about things here? Actually, no one's been gossiping. I just overthought it. You suddenly asked about the orphanage. So, hearing this, Violet felt a pang of guilt, realizing he was partly responsible for her anxiety. I apologize. I was a bit hasty. First, I have this for you. Baden said you fully recovered. So this is the gift I promised you. Shalina was a little surprised that the Duke had remembered his promise. It looked similar to the cream puffs she was familiar with. This cake isn't good if it melts, so eat it quickly. Shalina accepted the cake. It was indeed still cool to the touch. It's a frozen cream puff, she realized with a touch of wonder. A frozen cream puff. Yes, a cream puff that's frozen before you eat it. Children like you really enjoy them. Seeing a flicker of sadness in the Duke's eyes, Juliana thought, what is the Duke thinking about? He must be thinking about the person who passed away shortly after giving birth to Dylan. He found it amusing to see his daughter wanting to eat the cake, yet hesitating. Shalina, eat it. You look like you're about to drool. I'm going to savor this, she thought. I have to open my mouth wide to really enjoy it. This is so delicious. Thank you for giving me such a tasty treat. If you like it that much, come by often. I'll have them prepared for you. Juliana's eyes sparkled. So, you're not sending me back to the orphanage, right? That's why you said you'd give me more delicious things. Of course. I asked about the orphanage because I received a report about the director. The little girl feigned curiosity. The director of my orphanage? Shalina had been waiting for this day. Then I know a lot about her. This is the perfect opportunity to expose that director who put me and the other children through so much hardship. I'll tell you everything. Putting on a somewhat innocent expression, she began her tale. The director is a good person. She told all of us to work hard to earn money for food. Is that so? She said generous people would give us money, but there were hardly any such people, so we had to help the director a lot. Violet was taken aback. Children like you had to work? Yes. We were very good at sewing, laundry, cleaning, everything. We would eat breakfast, clean everything, and then sew clothes until dinner. For about 10 hours, I diligently sewed clothes, and the director would sell them, and then buy us food. The Duke pressed further. A child like you, for a full 10 hours? Did our Shalina get hit? A glow of pleasure touched Shalina's face at being called our Shalina. Yes, I was probably the most useless one at the orphanage. So, I worked hard to learn cleaning and laundry. They said I had to be a maid in a rich household. Every word from Violet intensified her anger. Seeing the atmosphere grow tense, Shalina interjected, Duke, please don't do that. You'll get hurt. I don't want the Duke to get hurt. Violet held her small hand, a hand that had undoubtedly endured hardships. Neither do I. I hope the child with such beautiful hands won't suffer any more pain or illness. Hearing those words, at that moment, a tingling sensation ran through Shalina's nose, and it began to feel hot. I can't cry. This feeling must be Shina's emotions, so I can't waver. Violet, composing herself, said, "Based on what you've told me, it seems the director is a truly wicked person, someone I can't associate with. But in my opinion, orphanages are still essential. So, after punishing and dismissing that orphanage director, I will appoint a new one." This was Shina's long-held wish. That's great. From now on, the children at the orphanage will be free from that horrible director. I only mentioned it a few days ago, but how did things turn out like this? This was something Shina had never imagined. As soon as they arrived, Shalina couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, there are so many people here." Winder, looking at her, asked again, "Shalina, this is your first time leaving the manor to come to a park like this. Are you all right?" Shalina replied with a smile, "Yes. I really wanted to come to Central Park. Thank you for bringing me here. I wish Dylan could have come too, but he's too busy. Next time, let's all come together." Shalina looked around the park, her gaze suddenly fixated on a smaller child, or more accurately, fixated on the cup in the child's hand. Seeing his sister's interest, Winder asked if she wanted a drink. "I'll buy you one," without waiting for Shalina to politely refuse. He immediately ran off to buy her one. "Wait here for me. I'll be right back." Lucy, the nanny, wanted to call out to him, "Young master, you'll get hurt running like that." She sighed. "He's already run so far. There's nothing I can do. Even if he hears me, I doubt he'll slow down." While she was focused on Winder, Shalina seemed to want to say something, but Lucy didn't notice. When she turned back to tell the young miss to wait on the bench, she found Shalina gone. To be precise, it wasn't that Shalina had wandered off, but that she had been taken somewhere by the orphanage director and her people. The director looked at her with eyes that seemed to want to devour her alive. Beside her stood a person covered from head to toe. It wasn't difficult to recognize this person as the Imperial Consort's henchman. The novel clearly stated that the Imperial Consort was colluding with a secret organization called the White Tower. This person was undoubtedly one of them. The orphanage director had no magical abilities, nor could she obtain information from the Duke's family. It was clear that the Imperial Consort used her henchmen to kidnap Shalina, but the reason remained a mystery. The director said to the little girl, "Shina, it seems you've been doing well. In this situation, it was best to play dumb to avoid suspicion." She replied in her usual childish voice, "I've been doing well. But where is this? And there are 2 weeks left." As she spoke, she thought, "If the Duke stops his support, I'll have to leave the Duke's house. But why would they risk kidnapping me now?" Looking at the scheming face of the woman before her, she must have some sinister plot in mind to be so audacious. Even if you're worthless, it seems there's still a place that needs you. It seems someone is looking for you. As soon as she finished speaking, the henchman immediately approached Shalina. He revealed a rather frightening face and said, "Long time no see." At that moment, Shalina realized, if there's a place that needs me, could it be they're planning to steal my power again? They clearly took a month ago. I don't want to feel that pain again. The thought sent a chill down her spine. Cornered by him, Shalina trembled, her lips barely moving. "Kelly, please." In her despair, she looked to the orphanage director, calling her name and pleading for help, but the woman coldly turned away. "She was there when they stole my powers at the orphanage. She won't help me now. Calm down, calm down. Everything will be all right. I can still change the future. It's not time for the crown princess to imprison me yet." Clinging to the smallest sliver of hope, Shalina pleaded with the man to let her go, repeatedly bringing up what had happened before. But this villainous thug would never release his prey. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out the magical tool she had seen both in the original novel and in this world. This dangerous object was called Brilliance. Every time she saw it, Shina's painful memories resurfaced. A little more about Izila's secret. Although Izila was of royal blood, she possessed no magical powers. Therefore, she always carried Brilliance, which contained Shina's powers, in order to use them. The novel claimed that the powers Izila should have possessed were stolen by Shina at birth, but that wasn't true. Shalina had never stolen Izila's powers. Izila wasn't born first like her mother, and she lacked magical powers. How could that possibly be Shina's fault? This child is so pitiful. Shalina wondered why she had even read such a preposterous novel. Just because she wasn't the protagonist, she was treated as the villain. It's the classic excuse used in stories to justify the villain's torment. Shalina gritted her teeth. "I can't let Brilliance touch me." She screamed, "Duke, save me." Duke. The henchman panicked, not expecting the little girl's voice to be so loud. He tried to hold her down, and in the struggle, Shalina accidentally knocked over a strange bottle of liquid, spilling it on him. Seeing the bottle fall and shatter on the ground, he flew into a rage, glaring at her. You dare to resist? Looking at the ferocious expression, Shalina was terrified and could only pray silently. But even the slightest hope was worth a try. She shouted again, Duke. Fortunately, their people arrived just in time. The Duke arrived with them. Winder and Lucy must have quickly reported Shalina's disappearance to Violet. This time, the little girl could breathe a sigh of relief. Suddenly, the henchman made a very strange move. He waved his hand towards the three of them, erecting a shield around them. A protective barrier? Then we can't escape. He must be planning to use me as a hostage. At that moment, a reckless thought flashed through Shalina's mind. She looked around, her eyes falling on the shattered glass bottle. While the mage was distracted by the Duke, she quickly grabbed a shard of glass. A look of pain crossed the mage's face. Shiina stabbed him in the leg with the shard. The Duke, seizing the opportunity, shattered the barrier and sent the mage to his ancestors with a single blow. He didn't hesitate to obliterate anyone who dared to harm those under his protection. Brilliance fell from a mage's hand and landed on the ground. Seeing it, Shalina trembled. I have to leave. I have to get away from Brilliance. Perhaps it was the fear of past nightmares, but Shalina only wanted to escape from it. This Brilliance confirms that as long as it exists, the Crown Princess and Izila will never give up on this power. They'll come back again and again. Despite everyone urging her to get away from the stone, Shalina remained frozen in place. She kept repeating, I have to get rid of Brilliance. If I destroy it, they won't be able to find me, and they will just make another one. While she was still thinking about how to destroy it, Violet rushed over, embraced her, and asked if she was all right. No, we have to destroy that. Hearing this, the mage reached for Brilliance. Just as the henchman was about to grab the magical object, Winder burst in from behind, sword in hand, knocking the stone away. Mission accomplished, he declared, triumphantly raising his sword. My diagonal/practice paid off. Shalina, did you see that? Wasn't I cool? Immediately following this, strange runes appeared before everyone's eyes. The henchman's body began to rapidly disappear. He still clung tightly to Brilliance. Perhaps this stone will be my lifeline, he rasped. A creepy smile stretched across his face. But villains don't live long. Violet, noticing this, swiftly pierced the stone with his sword. Brilliance shattered, the sword continuing through to pierce the henchman's palm. He cried out in pain, his body vanishing shortly after. In such a short time, a grown man's form had completely disappeared. The pool of blood he left behind reflected Violet's image. I didn't control my power very well, Violet murmured. Baden, who had also arrived with them, took the Duke's hand and asked, Father, he's dead. We have to ask him why he did that to Shalina. The Duke patted his son's head, comforting him warmly. Don't worry, Baden. Someone else needs to be held accountable for this. He turned coldly towards the orphanage director, his sword pointed at her. If he made the slightest mistake, it would be her head, not just her hair, that would fall to the ground. Terrified, she clutched her head and collapsed. I didn't control my power very well just now, because I was angry, Violet stated. Hearing this, the orphanage director trembled as she crawled to the Duke's feet. I was wrong. I've committed a deadly sin, she stammered. Violet's words only intensified her panic. If you've committed a deadly sin, you should die, shouldn't you? However, I'm still curious. Even if you tried to ignore me, you still have to answer me, don't you? How dare I ignore the Duke? I would never dare. The once arrogant director now cowered like an obedient dog. Truly, people like her always knew how to be subservient to power. No, I know this was your own idea. Otherwise, you would have no reason to harm the child I protect. Now that her deception had been exposed, all the wicked director could do was beg for her life. Witnessing this scene, Shalina realized the power of authority. This is the director who bullied me so much, but in front of the Duke, she's so weak. If I had a little power, if I knew my true identity, maybe I wouldn't have had to live so miserably. Maybe the director would also bow down to me. Thinking of this, Shalina started to cry, clinging tightly to Winder. Seeing her frightened state, Winder felt heartbroken. Shalina, she can't touch you anymore. Everything's all right now. From now on, everyone will protect you. Duke Violet began questioning the director about the identity of her accomplice. Facing a life-or-death situation, she remained tight-lipped, refusing to reveal the person's name. That, I can't say. If I say it, I really will die. Normally, she would betray and tell everything she knew. Why is the director so unwilling to talk? Shelina wondered. But even if she didn't die at the instigator's hands, her life here was certainly forfeited. The Duke threatened. Do you really think you can still live? As Winder carried Shelina away, the director suddenly called out to her, crying tearfully, Shelina, please help me. I was wrong. You love me, right? Shelina was taken aback by her audacity. She turned to the Duke and asked, Duke, will you really change the orphanage? From now on, no one will be beaten, right? They'll get food and water, and there will always be food in the refrigerator, right? Even if we don't work all day, we won't be scolded, right? The Duke was astonished by these questions. He couldn't imagine what the children at the orphanage had endured. After receiving confirmation, Shelina smiled with satisfaction. She looked back at the director and said to her, Did you listen to me when I begged for help? I only asked you to help me. With that, Violet turned and walked away without a backward glance. The time for forgiveness has long passed. From now on, the orphanage director will never harm Shelina again. Without brilliance, the crown princess won't bother her for the time being. The wretched connection with the cruel director was finally severed. It was finally over. Shelina closed her eyes, bidding farewell to that wicked woman. By the time the three children returned to the manor, dusk had settled. Noticing Winder's unusual demeanor, Shelina quickly asked, Brother, are you all right? Winder was silent for a moment, then lowered his head and began to cry. Shelina, did it hurt? His silence throughout the journey had stemmed from guilt. He was likely blaming himself for allowing her to be kidnapped. Worried about him, Shelina quickly shook her head. I wasn't hurt. She hoped this would comfort him. But upon hearing her words, Winder cried even harder, saying he didn't deserve to be her brother. Seeing this, Baden was speechless. My brother is actually crying? Winder, filled with self-reproach, believed everything that happened was because he hadn't protected her, because he hadn't kept an eye on her, because of that drink. The kind and articulate Shelina replied, That's because the bad mage controlled everything. You just wanted to give me a drink. It's not your fault. When I was kidnapped, I knew you and the Duke would come and save me. I completely trusted everyone. Shelina's words soothed Winder's small heart, and he stopped crying. Actually, for an orphan who couldn't trust anyone before, that's a dangerous mindset. But in that moment, Shelina somehow knew everyone would come to save her. Thanks to them, she had narrowly escaped this time. In the future, the crown princess would come again to seize her spiritual power. Today, thanks to the variable of the Duke, she had overcome it. But what about next time? What if the crown princess wanted to drag the Violet family down with her? The Duke's family was the leading family of the empire, but the crown princess was a member of the royal family. Furthermore, the crown princess's paternal family, the Bethel Marquisate, were the head of the nobles, controlling the empire's food supply because they monopolized the fertile lands of the south. In comparison, the Duke wasn't deeply involved in politics, so his power was relatively weaker. Not only was the Bethel Marquisate on the crown princess's side, but all the nobles could be her enemies. These people saved me. They showed me kindness. I really want to protect them. Could she win? Lost in thought, Winder interrupted her. You must be shocked, right? All right, now we'll stay with you until you fall asleep. So close your eyes for a while. You're all so busy. Why are you watching over me like this? Hearing this, Winder exclaimed, After something like this happened, what's more important? I won't leave Shelina. Your face is a little red. It seems you really do have a fever. I'll go get the doctor. You get some sleep first. Shelina's symptoms were beginning to manifest externally, but she still tried to pretend she was fine, even attempting to comfort everyone. I'm fine, everyone. You don't have to worry about me. As she looked down at the ground, she thought, oh my goodness. She felt dizzy and disoriented, but still tried to persevere, thinking that if she drank some water, she might feel better. Speak of the devil. A mini waterfall suddenly poured down from above her head, descending from the ceiling. Oh my goodness. Shelina, what is this? Shelina, are you all right? Just now she was dizzy, but now she felt freezing like she was in the Arctic. She began to curl up, her whole body trembling. Winder quickly embraced her. It's okay. I'll warm you up. Even so, she still felt incredibly cold, wishing there was a fire. Maybe that would help. Be careful what you wish for. A supersized fire appeared, not just a small one. Winder, stunned, quickly grabbed a blanket to try and extinguish the flames. None of them could understand what was happening. When Dylan asked her, Shalina stammered a reply. Before she could finish, she began to sway, quickly losing consciousness. While she was unconscious, someone approached her and spoke. "I've finally found you." Shalina couldn't tell who it was, Winder or Dylan. Shalina slowly opened her eyes. "Am I dreaming?" Before her stood a complete stranger. The person quickly addressed her. "First, don't suffer anymore. Make a contract with me." He gently stroked Shalina's hair and then took a strand of it. Just hearing this mysterious person's voice made Shalina feel much more comfortable. The person left, and Shalina drifted back into her dream. But what does making a contract mean? Something is messing with my head. Is this my dream or a memory? Even Shalina herself wasn't sure. The person who appeared in Shalina's dream also seemed to be a child. He said himself, "Because the seal cannot be broken yet, I can only meet you like this. When you discover a bit of divine power, you will feel pain. So get better quickly, because this time you will feel the happiness you long for." This mysterious boy's words might be the key to Shalina's future. It was also possible that he had foreseen these things long ago. After saying these words, the boy quickly vanished without a trace. Shiina slowly awoke from her unconscious state. Because Shiina hadn't woken up yet, Dylan was extremely upset. Why hasn't she woken up yet? Baden could only reassure him. "Miss will wake up soon. It's just that her spirit is extremely exhausted, young master." Hearing this, Dylan was even more bewildered. So that's why she suddenly fainted, was suddenly doused with water, then surrounded by fire, and then fainted again? What spirit? Even Baden couldn't remain calm. "Young master, please allow me." A few minutes later, Shalina finally woke up, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Hearing that the little one had fainted, they had all gathered here. "I was so worried." Seeing everyone like this, she seemed touched. After waking up, Shalina immediately asked, "What happened to the orphanage director?" Duke Violet calmly replied, "She has received the punishment she deserved. You are still too young, and I cannot explain the details to you." However, she was still persistent. "But I want to know. I think I have the right to know." Duke Violet had to tell the truth. The orphanage director neglected her duties and embezzled funds. In addition, considering all the crimes, such as abusing and kidnapping you, she was shot dead on the spot. "Shalina, I know you're tired, but I want to introduce someone to you." Suddenly, a woman walked over and said, "Hello, Mississippi. I am Agrin from the Chongyo Magic Tower. I'm looking for you because of the special abilities you possess." The appearance of a mage surprised Shalina. After what had just happened, she seemed a little timid. However, Violet reassured her. "Don't worry, Shalina. Shalina, I'm here with you, so nothing will happen." "How did that person torture you?" So, Shalina told everyone. "Just now, when I put on that brooch, my vision became blurred and my body lost all its strength. I felt a writhing pain inside me, so much so that I couldn't make a sound. Back at the orphanage, she kept doing that." Hearing her words, the Duke was extremely indignant. Indeed, she deserved to die. Then, Agrin said, "Miss, I'm here to help you. If I know what your power is, I can help you prevent something like this from happening again." At this moment, Shalina thought to herself, "The power I possess is psychic power. What should I do if the Duke discovers I have psychic power and takes me back to the royal family?" She recalled Izila's furious face. "Even if I return to the royal family, no one will welcome me. I don't want to go back to the royal family." Seeing Shalina's worried expression, the Duke gently comforted her. "There are many things I already know." Hearing his words, Shalina was moved. "So that's it. It seems the Duke heard about me from the director. I can feel the Duke's gentle gaze upon me. Regardless, you'll find out someday. This time, trust the Duke." Agrin extended a hand. "Miss Shalina, I'm a mage who uses cold air, so you'll feel chilly for a moment." Shalina's body radiated a dazzling light. Her eyes gradually grew pale. Agrin, deeply focused, suddenly heard a gasp. "This is impossible." Witnessing the scene, Violet approached. "What's wrong?" That misuse isn't magic." Dylan was astonished. "Huh? But both my brother and I clearly saw the fire. It suddenly appeared, just like magic." It stammered, so I also thought it was some kind of elemental magic." Shalina's expression was one of utter confusion. Winder speculated, if it's the brain, could it be psychic power? Dylan, however, disagreed. "But isn't psychic power an ability exclusive to the direct descendants of the royal family?" "So, Shalina is a member of the royal family?" Violet appeared worried upon learning this. The only royal descendant with that ability was the deceased queen. Could it be that the stillborn child, for whom a funeral was held, is still alive? "Thank you for your efforts. You may leave after the examination. However, what you witnessed today must absolutely not be revealed. My lips are sealed. Violet turned to Shalina. Shalina, no, Sheena, do you want to return to the royal family? Tell me, do you wish to reclaim your identity as a princess? She immediately refused. If I were truly a princess, someone would have protected me before I went to the orphanage. But no one did. She grasped Violet's hand. I'm still just an orphan from the orphanage. Duke Violet, you don't need me anymore. Violet replied, that's right. I don't need an orphan for publicity. His words made her slowly release his hand. On the contrary, I need a daughter. He gently wiped away her tears, a warm smile gracing his lips. Suddenly, he leaned closer, kneeling by her bedside. Shalina was taken aback. I will do everything in my power to protect you. So, will you become my daughter? Violet fumbled in his pocket, retrieving something. I've been agonizing over when to tell you about this. He produced a necklace. This is a treasure passed down through generations of our family to the girls. It's been kept safe for nearly 100 years, since the last girl was born. If you become my daughter, we'll take a family portrait and place it inside this pendant. Even if we don't become a family, I said I would protect you, and that fact will not change. The choice is yours. Shalina pondered this. I want to answer right away. I want to be a part of his family. But what if the Duke's family is endangered because of me? What should I do? What if these affectionate people get hurt because of me? I can't bring myself to say yes. Several days have passed since that day. After my psychic power properly manifested, my physical condition improved rapidly. I no longer stutter or stagger when I walk. Shalina gazed at the necklace Violet had given her. The choice is yours. Suddenly, both Dylan and Winder appeared, surprising her. Ah, brother, when did you arrive? I thought you weren't coming. Seeing her worried expression, Winder said, are you thinking about becoming a part of our family? I'm sorry if asking like this feels like I'm rushing you. Father said I shouldn't do anything that would make you decide against your will. Dylan blurted out, but I'm curious. Live with us, Shalina. Winder immediately stopped him. Dylan, you can't do that. Shalina spoke up. Actually, I also want to continue living with you all at the Duke's manor. Dylan, still curious, wondered, then what's the problem? His question seemed to confuse Shalina. Well, if I stay here, it might negatively impact the Duke's family's reputation. It's all right, Shalina, Winder said. Do you want to go out with me? After a while, he brought Shalina to a park, a place she used to live near. There's no more evil director here, he reassured her. At the same time, she saw her old friend again. Go and talk with your friends, Winder urged. We'll wait for you in the carriage. His kindness touched Shalina deeply. Her friend seemed thrilled to see her again. Are you okay? Did you really become a princess? One asked. That's right. Another chimed in. We're so grateful to you. Thank you. A third added. It's all thanks to you. Their words of gratitude left Shalina confused. Wait, she asked. What are you talking about? They believed Shalina was the reason the orphanage had changed. You dealt with the director, right? Thanks to you, we have a very kind director now. Everyone says it's because you're kind and intelligent, and the Duke's family recognized that. Their compliments made Shalina ponder. Everyone thinks I was adopted by the Duke's family because I got rid of the director and changed the orphanage. Come to think of it, I haven't seen the informant anywhere. Where did he go? At the mention of the informant, everyone suddenly froze. The informant became very ill after being locked in the closet. Everyone said there was something wrong with him because he was constantly sick. He was transferred to another orphanage. We're not sure, but we heard that if we die, the adults will come and check. So the director was angry and said he couldn't let him die here. Hearing this, Shalina felt even worse. The informant and I weren't on good terms, but I hope he went somewhere where he won't be beaten anymore. I have to go back now. See you next time. I'm not Shu anymore. I'm Shalina. When she returned, Winder asked gently, Shalina, you're back. Did you have fun talking with your friends? She, however, was curious. Why did you bring me here? He explained, how do you feel about the orphanage? Is it more awkward than being at the Duke's manor? That means it's no longer your home. Why care about reputation or background? Because you're a child who can shine anywhere. Winder's words made her think. As soon as I got home, he called for me, saying he had something to show me. So where are we going now? In another scene, the Duke suddenly brought her to a place. Then he set her down. Do you know what this place is for? I don't know. This is where the history of a Violet family is kept. The portraits here are the ancestors of the Duke's family, including mine, and the portraits of descendants are also hung here. There are very few descendants of the Duke's family, so there are many empty spaces. His words seemed to leave Shalina still unclear. Was he just joking? She wondered. Then, the Duke led her to a portrait of a person. This is our first ancestor. The first ancestor of the Violets was a dragon. So that's why the pupils are so long, she observed. However, Shalina wondered, what's a dragon? In her mind, she imagined it might be like a lizard, but with wings. The Duke seemed unsure how to explain it to her. Suddenly, there was a noise. Shalina, turn around. A white-haired man suddenly appeared. His eyes looked incredibly beautiful. Who is that? She wondered. At that moment, the Duke remained calm. There are no more dragons in this world. Anyway, Shalina suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, that person over there." When she turned to look, he was gone. What was that? Did I see a ghost? After a moment, the Duke led her to where a crown was displayed. Because you're a little dragon, this is how it is. Do you want to try it on? This is something I haven't taken out in over 100 years. This surprised Shalina immensely. You're taking it out now? Anyone can tell this is a treasure. What if I drop it? She was bewildered. What if it breaks? Then we'll just make another one, the Duke replied. If that's the case, I'll let you choose the design that suits you best. Princess Shalina de Violet. The Grand Duchy is a vassal state of the Abnisa Empire, but I'm still the head of a nation. If you become my daughter, you will naturally be a princess. This is the room where the family heirlooms for the girls are kept. I want you to accept this place. Shalina was utterly bewildered. What are you saying? This is absurd. Duke Violet said, why do you find it absurd? Am I not asking you to be my daughter? If so, it's only reasonable that I show you what my daughter can have and let you choose. Of course, I don't mean to force you. Even if you don't become my daughter, I don't intend to take it back. The Duke's words left her confused. What do you mean? You're letting me try this on? What if this place is empty and a girl is born later? This is absurd. Despite this, he didn't seem to care much. Descendants, that's not my concern. I'm enthusiastic about you, and I'll treat you as my daughter. So why should I consider my descendants daughters? Honestly, the beautiful clothes of the Duke's family, even the luxurious food I've never eaten before, are like a dream. But if I'm greedy, I'll only be unhappy. Until now, I haven't known if I can repay the Duke's kindness to me. At this point, Shalina said sadly, Duke, what would you do if I accepted all these things and refused to be adopted? The Duke immediately replied, if you're worried about that, then become my real daughter. Faced with this request, Shalina was stunned. What should I do? Can this person really protect me? Can I protect this person? Because the Duke doesn't know my situation. Supposing if the Duke knew my situation, but still accepted me, if he fought alongside me, I will be happy. Shalina softly said to the Duke, if you adopt me, you might also be in danger. Are you talking about the Empress? Hearing that name, Shalina's body stiffened in fear. She couldn't possibly use mages to orchestrate the kidnapping of a penniless orphan. If you find out I'm a princess, then of course the Duke will suspect the Empress. The Duke asked worriedly, how do you know the Empress is targeting you? A few days ago, when my psychic power was stolen, I heard it. I know I'm a princess, so I have power. In fact, Isra doesn't have psychic power. They're deceiving everyone. So that's why they tried to steal my psychic power. Shalina suddenly cried out. They'll continue to search for it and steal it in the future. The Duke's family will also be in danger because of me. Perhaps the Empress also sees the Duke as an enemy. However, he seemed calm. The Violet family isn't so weak that it can't protect one daughter. Even so, Shalina was still afraid. What if the Empress's power is greater than you imagine? Although we're safe this time, what if she attacks the Duke next time? What if she takes my brothers, or Lucy, or Edgar's hostages? At this, the Duke also said, you hiding your power, just like Violet. Shalina still insisted. There will only be danger, trouble, and fatigue. You know all my circumstances, but you still want to adopt me. The Duke softly replied, those who have starved often can't forget the taste of the food they've tasted, even if only briefly. Even if it's on a cliff that's hard to reach, they'll climb there at all costs to eat. I'm not the only one who loves you. The Duke's mood suddenly darkened. Let's see. Shalina also fell silent, waiting for him to speak. Do you absolutely not want to return to your birth family? Do you hate going back to them because they aren't your family? Have you met your birth family directly? No, sir. I don't think I'm a princess. If I really were a princess, why would I live like this? Neither the Emperor nor the Crown Prince could protect a child like me. They didn't protect me. They only loved Isra. After all, this is the world in the book, a world that's only gentle to the protagonist, Isra. Until now, this hasn't changed. That kind of happiness won't come to me. I have no family. I'm all alone. After these words, Duke Violet seemed to make his final decision. If that's the case, then we My children and I will become your new family. I won't let anyone touch you. So live with us." The Duke's words touched Shalina's small heart, causing her to burst into tears. "I'm just extremely embarrassed. I want to live happily with everyone. I also know I'm enjoying a lot of things. I'll definitely do everything I can to repay you. So, I hope you'll become my father." Faced with this, the Duke embraced her. Parents don't make their children repay debts. It seemed as though Shalina had never cried like this before, with so many wounds. When will they ever heal? "So, from now on, will you love me unconditionally?" Suddenly, Winder and Dylan burst through the door. "Shalina, don't ask such obvious questions anymore." Their appearance surprised her. Dylan stepped forward. "You're really going to become our little sister. I never thought I'd have a sister like Shalina. Think about it, Shalina. We promised to protect you, so please protect our happiness too. Stay with us forever, Shalina." Aside from themselves, there was no one else to rely on. They were just as lonely as she was. "I'll be loved, hear affectionate words, protect each other so we won't be lonely. We'll become a family, always by each other's side." Before bed, the Duke didn't forget to ask, "Let me see, Shalina, which book do you like?" This attentive gesture moved Shalina. "Are you going to read to me now, father?" "Shalina, which one do you want to choose? Which one do you like?" So she excitedly said, "Oh, I like this one, Duke." However, the atmosphere suddenly became subdued. Did I say something wrong? Or should I have chosen a different one? Then he questioned her. "Why are you still calling me Duke? We're father and daughter." Now, Shalina gradually became enthusiastic. "Father, of course, I can call you that, but it's only 2 syllables. Call me by 2 syllables. Shalina seemed to have an aversion to the word father. She could say it naturally, but the words wouldn't come out. Was it because of the memory of Shalina Yulina being rejected by her family that she couldn't address him properly? But she didn't want to give up, even on something like this. Shalina slowly opened her mouth to speak. Finally, she managed to say the word, father. The Duke was overjoyed. "That's right, my daughter. Now let's lie down." A long, long time ago, there was a magic tower. Though still clumsy, he changed his tone for her. The image of the father she had always dreamed of was just like this. "I really like father. Living together makes me incredibly happy." At that moment, the Duke turned over and whispered, "Shalina, have you seen the puppies?" However, she had already fallen asleep. Sweet dreams, Shalina. In Shalina's dream, beautiful flowers were now everywhere. "If I give them to father or my brothers, will they like them?" Just then, a voice woke her. "Using your power again will be dangerous." Shalina immediately startled awake. Suddenly, a person appeared in her room, bound by divine ropes. Shalina, astonished, exclaimed, "Who is that? Is it an assassin? If they wanted to kill me, they could just throw knives. The bag is so big I could fit inside. Could it be the Empress trying to kidnap me?" In fear, Shalina screamed, "Help!" At the same time, a white-haired boy appeared. It seemed Lucas knew she was in danger. "It's Yulina, that's right. This is Yulina's energy." As expected, Yulina is still alive. No one has systematically taught her how to use her powers. She might be in danger. He quickly ran out and saw his father already standing there. "Father," she alerted him softly. "It's night time, but in the capital, there are many prying eyes. I'm casting a layer of spiritual power, so it's all right now. Tell me slowly." He hurriedly told his father, "She's alive." Even he partially recognized Shalina's spiritual power emanating from the Grand Duchy. But he still wondered, could she be in the Grand Duchy? "I don't know yet. If she's alive," he continued, "then the Empress's claim that she died is a lie. Before the funeral, she struck her. Who dares touch my daughter and Herez, our family? I don't know who the culprit is, but I will never forgive those involved." He softly told his son, "I will find her and bring her back. I can finally fulfill my promise to Herez. Promise me, father. If you cannot bring her back, I will personally go and bring her home." Back with Shalina. After hearing the scream, all the servants rushed over, worriedly asking, "Miss, are you all right? What is this? How did these flowers suddenly appear?" The servants were astonished by the scene before them. Even Duke Violet was dumbfounded. "Why aren't you acting as you were trained? What are you doing? What are you still standing there for?" "Protect Shalina. Seize that person. Extract information." "Shalina, are you hurt?" "I'm fine, father." The current situation reminded her of something. "Last time I used my power, my head felt like it was going to explode. But this time it doesn't hurt at all. It feels refreshing instead." Winder came over and asked, "What are these?" To her brother's question, Shalina could only stammer. "In my dream, there was a field of flowers. I was swinging on vines, playing. When I woke up, it was like this. Do you all think I'm a monster? Dylan seemed excited. Shalina, that's amazing. So cool. Next time, dream of a room full of chocolate cake. Shalina could only smile awkwardly. Perhaps because they were still young, they weren't too confused when they saw the room. However, Duke Violet seemed perplexed. He must have been worried about her safety. I thought it wasn't anything special, but seeing Father's unusual expression, my power might be stronger than I thought. The next morning, Shalina was playing with the maids. Just then, Lucy came over, surprising everyone. Head maid, Miss is making necklaces. They're very cute. Oh my, the necklace you made is so beautiful. Lucy has one too. This deeply moved her. Miss, I will cherish it carefully. Did you make this for me yourself? Shalina explained. I wanted to give everyone one, so I made them with Nina. I only used scissors to cut a little. Miss is so fast, I'm bewildered. Suddenly, Lucy curiously asked, why did you think of doing this? Shalina explained, it's because of the ribbon Lucy gave me, the handkerchief from Edgar, along with Dylan's ballet skirt and Winder's bracelet. When I became a member of the family, everyone gave me gifts. I wanted to repay you all. Lucy was moved to tears. Miss, truly, I will help you too. But Shalina quickly refused. I'm already finished. I have to distribute them in order, starting from the first floor and going all the way to the second floor. Lucy, keep it a secret from Father. Yes, I will keep it a secret. At this time, Shalina was walking with Eloise. Is this the medal Miss gave me? It's an honor. I will treasure this gift. Thank you, Mississippi. It's really nothing special. Suddenly, Eloise turned around and asked, what are you thinking about, Miss? I'm thinking that I haven't done anything. And everyone welcomed me immediately. She countered, Miss, children are born to be loved without any conditions. These words gave Shalina pause. Without any conditions. Just then, she overheard a conversation between two maids. Did you hear? Are you talking about the decree issued from the Imperial Palace? There's suddenly news about the royalty. What happened? The person who finds her will be brought into the Imperial family, right? Unexpectedly, Shalina ran into Winder on her way. What brings you all the way here? Seeing her, Dylan rushed over. Shalina, why are you here? Winder suddenly wondered, but what is that around Mr. Hilarian's neck? It's so ugly. Are you talking about this? If you're talking about this medal, it's the most affectionate knight's medal. Dylan's words stung Shalina. Let's go back, Mr. Hilarian. It seems you don't want to accept it right away. Winder tried to smooth things over. I never said that. Shalina, give it to me. Don't mind him. Shalina asked Winder, do you like my necklace? Of course I do. Then I'll give it to you. At this, Dylan realized his mistake. No, me too. I want one too. Winder had to intervene. You little rascal, stop causing fuss. Shalina's already feeling dizzy, but Dylan insisted. Shalina, I want a necklace too. I said it was ugly, but I really didn't know Shalina made it. If you made it, then even ugly things become pretty, right? I always preferred ugly things anyway. So, when I said I liked you, did that mean you're ugly? This flustered Dylan. I meant ugly in a good way. Really. From now on, ugly is beautiful. I'll definitely revise the law later. Shalina laughed brightly. You should change that word. You're the most handsome brother in the world, right? If you two keep slacking off, your teacher will scold you. Now, both of you go back to practice. I have to go see Father now. With that, she bid farewell to her two brothers. A short while later, Shalina arrived at her father's room. Everyone, please come in. Is something the matter? Of course, Miss wants to give you this. However, his expression seemed tired. Father, why are you in a bad mood? Everyone's wearing one around their neck, but Father hasn't received one yet. So is that why I had to hurry up and give it to Father? She slowly approached him and offered her gift. Father, this. He wondered aloud. Why am I last? The most important person is saved for last. Your Grace, I thought I was the most important. So Father doesn't need this? Shalina looked vulnerable. I specifically wrote here, Shalina's father is the best in the world. I used lots of beautiful words. I even meticulously applied the best glitter. He lifted her up. Can you put it on me? Do you like it, Father? He seemed pleased. You made it beautifully. Now that I think about it, I have something to tell you. It's a good thing you came to see me. What is it? He then signaled for all the servants to leave. The Duke continued. The Imperial Palace has issued a decree. This seemed to fill Shalina with despair. I sensed a fluctuation of spiritual power from the Imperial family. The person who discovered it is to quickly enter the Imperial Palace. This was familiar, something she'd heard from rumors within the mansion. Her first thought after hearing the rumor was, why? Why are they looking for me now? Because I changed Shu Yelena's fate, the fate of the one whose spiritual power was absorbed by Zila. The atmosphere grew heavy with silence. Then he continued, "Do you regret being adopted? Remembering your bloodline, you needn't feel strange." Shalina immediately retorted, "No, sir. I've never thought that way. It's not that I miss them, it's that I'm angry. Now that I've finally found my happiness, I'm angry that they're suddenly looking for me now. My family is only father and my brothers. That can't happen. Father, promise me you won't send me away, even if His Majesty the Emperor comes here himself looking for me." He affirmed, "If you don't want to go, I won't send you away. And one more thing." Hearing this, Shalina seemed surprised. He said there's one more thing he wants to say. The little girl looked up, her eyes sparkling. "What is it?" He replied, "You need to receive a princess's education, so I plan to find you a private tutor. Or if you don't like." The little girl immediately responded, "How could I not like it? I'll study hard and become worthy of the Duke's family, and then I'll be able to hear everyone call me Smart Princess. Violet said that my daughter enjoys studying and is a model student. Then I need to find the most famous teacher. In the capital, the Violet family is looking for a teacher to tutor their only princess." Izila read the announcement, her heart filled with discomfort. Father said he'd handle it and then left, only sending a kidnapper. Now, this annoying excuse has surfaced again. Ultimately, the Duke is protecting her, making it difficult for me to take her away again. Because I became royalty through marriage, I can't sense spiritual power. The spiritual power was extracted so the child couldn't awaken, to prevent the Emperor from finding her. If the Emperor discovers whether his daughter is alive or dead, my plans will fail. No, if the Emperor hadn't issued the decree, he wouldn't know about Shalina's awakening. So should I be happy? The fact that the royal decree demands my immediate return means he hasn't found his daughter yet, right? Before he finds a child, I must act first. The deception plan was just an amusement. Oh, right, a rather amusing picture just came to mind. How about making the Duke regret taking care of that child? Seeing her tutor, Shalina cheerfully greeted her. "Good morning." The tutor sternly replied, "As expected, you still haven't learned manners. A gentle smile is fundamental for a noble lady. Showing your teeth like that looks shallow. Indeed, I heard you previously lived in an environment where learning was impossible. Such a pity. It seems you haven't corrected any of the common orphanage traces at all." The little girl thought, "What's that? That look is like she's looking at something pitiful. It doesn't feel the same as when Lucy, or Father, or my brother said they felt sorry for me." Then, the tutor's attitude took a complete 180-degree turn. "It's all right. After all, changing your upbringing is difficult. That's why I'm here. Through this lesson, you can become a noble lady of a high-ranking family." What is this suffocating feeling? Did she just say I act like a common orphan? What does it even mean to act like a noble? Lost in thought, the little girl asked, "To become a princess, do I just need to be kind?" The tutor simply stood there, staring at her. Shalina's eyes began to tear up. The tutor replied, "Even if your pronunciation is clear, speaking like that isn't noble at all." A sharp gaze pierced the little girl. Shalina had to stammer and repeat every word, following the instructions. The more she spoke, the more annoyed the tutor became. "I heard you were an intelligent child, but you're more disappointing than I imagined. Lucy and Eloise both complimented me, saying the way I speak is mature. Were they just pampering me? If not, does the tutor just not like me?" The tutor adjusted her glasses and said, "Manners, elegance, beauty. Only when you possess all these qualities can you even begin to stand at the starting line as a noble lady. Of course, bloodline is the most important." Hearing this, something suddenly occurred to the little girl. Wait, bloodline can't be my flaw because I have royal blood. And Winder said that regardless of my status or identity, just having me is enough. No matter where I am or what I do, I'm still Shalina. Then she boldly replied to the tutor, "Teacher, I'm a noble lady now too. I'm Duke Violet's only daughter." The tutor continued in her condescending tone, "Miss, that's not what I meant." The little girl replied, "But, teacher, you've been looking down on me this whole time. You didn't even greet me when I came in." Her forehead began to sweat. "Miss, these are words of encouragement to motivate you." The little girl didn't let her continue, saying, "No, they're not. You haven't mentioned anything related to the lesson and have been talking about my past the whole time. Miss, I know you're ashamed of your common orphan past, but your past is like your roots," Shalina replied. "Teacher, I've never been ashamed of my past. Should I be ashamed if I was a commoner? I just wish you would respect me. Well, I am Lima Payne, Mississippi. My first goal is to help you catch up to even half a quarter of a princess." Hearing about the princess, her mind filled with question marks. Why do I have to catch up to Izila here? Princess Izila, though still young, is a perfect example of a noble in the imperial palace. Etiquette, speech, cultural knowledge, and so on. The princess is a perfect individual who has everything. Do your best to catch up. If you were the same age as young Izila, you would have learned so much already. Don't worry, I'll make you into a flawless young lady. Shalina found this unbelievable and snapped. Why do I have to learn so much? Even princesses are still young. We're both 6 years old, miss. A talented person doesn't quibble with others. Shalina reluctantly endured the lesson, feeling annoyed. What is she trying to do? Does she think young ladies not born into nobility shouldn't speak? Lima Payne said, the etiquette of commoners and nobles is different, so I understand you're not used to it. Why do you keep looking down on my commoner status? Shalina retorted with a forced smile. I'm just stating the truth. I'm not a commoner anymore. But even if I were, she has no reason to look down on me. Is being a noble everything? This is too much. Just you wait. I'll show you the fearsome power of a child you've angered. Later, at dinner time, the whole family gathered at the table. Suddenly, the two men of the house, Dylan and Winder, startled. Sayena, no. Who dared to make our little sister cry like this? The little girl sobbed. What happened? Shalina, why are you suddenly crying so loudly? What's wrong? Who upset you? The girl sobbed as she answered. Father, are you ashamed of me? Her father exclaimed. What are you talking about? Who would dare say such a thing to you? Shalina thought, this is it. I heard Miss Lima say she was afraid everyone in the Duke's household would be ashamed of me. Then she said aloud, Father, am I a shameful child? Will everyone naturally be ashamed of me for being an orphan? He replied, who said such nonsense? Was it the tutor? The tutor said, I was a shameful child in the Duke's house. I'm a shameful daughter. Hearing this, her father tensed. Lucy, he called, summon the tutor immediately. Did you call for me, your grace? Duke Violet said, I heard you scolded my daughter. Lima Payne replied, how dare I speak harshly to the young miss? He said, but why did you make the child feel ashamed? The young miss felt ashamed during the lesson. The Duke frowned. My 6-year-old daughter suddenly asked during her lesson if she should be ashamed of her past. What exactly are you teaching her? While learning about the young Miss's story, the topic of her past naturally came up. It seemed she felt a bit ashamed. Lima thought, I know it's difficult for me to hold my ground because of the oath, but even so, this is bad. My daughter has nothing to be ashamed of about her past. She replied aloud. It's simply that the young miss needs to recognize her shortcomings. Only by acknowledging her flaws can she develop further. This is a process many children go through. Shalina thought, did I misunderstand? Or is it because she hates me that she's making things complicated? Your Grace, children naturally express their feelings. In education, calm assessment is paramount. Coldly criticizing the young miss cannot be compared to other young ladies of the same age in the capital. How can she be expected to speak so well? Don't tell me everyone will be swayed by this. She continued, as the one in charge, I want her more than anyone to be an example to other young ladies. A perfect individual who can make the Duke's house shine. Duke Violet interrupted her. Wait, Shalina, who are you? I'm your daughter, father. That's right. You are the Duke's only daughter. There's no reason to compare my daughter to anyone in the capital. In fact, others should strive to be like Shalina. Hearing her father's words, Lima felt uneasy. My intention wasn't like that. Usually, to instill basic principles in young noble ladies, invoking motivation. Duke Violet ignored her words and embraced the little girl, saying, I think my daughter is lovely. Therefore, I swear I won't let this child shed tears again. So you're fired. Even if you defend yourself, you're fired. Your Grace, that would be difficult. I must be responsible for the young Mrs. Education. Hearing this, Shalina caught the underlying message. Must take responsibility? What does she mean? She stammered. If I just go back like this, my reputation will be ruined. I will adjust my methods to suit the young miss. Why is she speaking so desperately? It's a bit suspicious. Then, Shalina spoke up. Yes, father, she did make me upset. But how can you dismiss someone so quickly? Violet heard his daughter's question. But, Shalina, she made you upset. What grave offense is that? You can have a kind, famous, and more skilled teacher. Isn't that possible? It was time to deliver the finishing blow, the cuteness strategy. Father, I want to learn from this teacher. Is that okay? Can you grant my wish? This is your first wish. How could I refuse? My daughter is so kind, such a soft heart. However, if my daughter sheds tears again, it will be your end. Hearing the Duke utter these words, Lima trembled with fear. The scene shifts to Shalina's room. The teacher is suspicious. I need to investigate. Suddenly, someone appeared before her. but it was only a three-dimensional image. The little girl slowly sat up. She stepped out of bed. Who are you? This is amazing. I've never seen you before, but why do you look so familiar? Shalina's eyes sparkled as she looked at him. She reached out to touch him, but she couldn't feel anything. Why can't my hand touch you? Then the boy whispered a few words. Be careful. I can't hear what you're saying. Please say it again. Be careful. As soon as he finished speaking, the boy disappeared. Where'd he go? Is he a ghost? He told me to be careful. In this situation, he must be referring to Miss Lima, right? Come to think of it, I haven't appeared in the newspapers yet, so my information couldn't have spread so widely. But the teacher seemed to have grasped my information from the very beginning. She said she must take responsibility. As an associate professor at the Royal Academy, even if she's fired, she still has many other places she can go. And the capital is quite far from the Duke's residence, so it won't have a big impact on her reputation. The more she thought about it, the more frustrated she became. Wait, if it's the capital, could it be the Empress's orders? It's best to be careful. I'll keep a close eye on the teacher, carefully observe her. The scene changes. Shalina is sitting on a flower-laden swing in the mansion's garden. A sad look still lingers in her eyes. Nina runs towards her from afar. Miss, are you cold? I brought a blanket. Miss, have you been sad all day because your nightgown was damaged? Nina, how did you know? She replied. I overheard the laundry maids talking in the hallway. Don't worry, I'll help you replace the ribbon. Thank you, Nina. But am I a bad child? What are you talking about, miss? She remembered when she had scolded the servants earlier. Because it was the first gift father gave me. So I got angry. Nina gently comforted her. Because it was a set of night clothes you treasured, of course you'd be sad. And you don't have to worry about bad-mouthing or anything. Shalina replied, It's okay. I know there are people in the mansion who dislike me. Hearing this, Nina was shocked. You know, you already knew. The little girl said, I grew up under scrutiny. I can distinguish between those who like me and those who dislike me. Nina was moved to tears. You know, and you're still worried about her? Our miss is truly the kindest child in the world. By the way, miss, since we're on this topic, I also wanted to say that the professor was talking to that maid too. The professor? You mean Miss Lima? I know you felt uncomfortable because I overheard that maid complaining to the professor. I saw it when the moon came out. Shalina thought. She remained silent after seeing father, but she's bad-mouthing me behind my back. Miss Lima, emphasizing noble status, yet close to those who do menial work, must have an ulterior motive. Nina, please call the laundry maid. I must find out what happened. Shalina sat up and asked, What's your name? The maid trembled as she answered. My name is Freen. I'm truly sorry, Mississippi. I've committed a deadly sin. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't know the ribbon had fallen off. I'm so sorry. I thought she knew I'd overheard her bad-mouthing me. I didn't mean that. The ribbon was an accident. Lift your head, Freen. Then, Shalina replied, Actually, I need another personal maid. I'm quite satisfied with what you said. Immediately owning up to your mistake. I always appreciate straightforward people. The maid looked up, dumbfounded. Are you saying I'll be accepted as a personal maid? I'll go talk to father about it. Hearing this, she smiled through her tears. Thank you, Mississippi. My life has changed. I've been promoted. Farewell to those damp and dirty chores. Nina, witnessing this, said, Miss, are you really making her a personal maid, just like me? The little girl replied, If she's as straightforward and sincere as Freen, she'll be a good fit for me. Thank you, Mississippi. Later, in Shalina's room. If it hurts, you must tell me immediately, okay? Yes, thank you. As long as it doesn't bleed too much, it's fine. Oh, and one more thing. What is it, miss? Actually, I overheard something upsetting, so I wanted to ask, did Freen speak ill of me? Hearing such an innocent question, the maid's heart plummeted. She immediately denied it. Miss, absolutely not. Who would dare fabricate such a lie? The little girl said, Hurt, really? I heard it from a trustworthy person. I really didn't mean it. Shalina said, So, Freen is innocent? Should I ask everyone in front of them? Hearing this, the maid cowered, profusely apologizing. I've committed a terrible sin. Shalina replied, I just want to be close to Freen, but I can't keep someone who dislikes me. As my personal maid, she cried, How could I possibly dislike you, miss? It was that tutor who kept tempting me, so I said those things. I never thought it would turn out like this. The tutor, tempting Freen? Yes, she often subtly mentioned you when talking to the other maids. She often told vague stories, both positive and negative. Shalina thought, I had that feeling too. And she actively approached those who might interpret things negatively, building relationships with them. If Freen is telling the truth, then the tutor is secretly spreading strange rumors about me. I have to investigate the reason behind this. Freen, I have an instruction. Can you carry it out? Her eyes sparkled as if she had struck gold. Please command me with any task, Mississippi. I will obey. Then the two whispered to each other. Time passed and night fell. Father, quickly lie down here. Tonight, let's finish the book we didn't finish yesterday. The little girl lay beside her father, neatly tucked under the blankets. I'm ready. The little pig, following the scent of herbs, walked along the herbal trail. I smell a sweet fragrance drifting from the distant mountain. It must be the herbs this time. Found it. I see it. As he approached and carefully sniffed, he realized it wasn't herbs, but the sweet scent of chocolate. Disappointed, he munched on the chocolate and continued on his way. Just as the little one was about to fall asleep, a subordinate entered the room and announced, My lord, there's an urgent matter to report. He replied, Come back in an hour. The man said seriously, Please forgive me, but this is truly urgent. Shalina thought, It's Cahill. Him coming all the way here means it's very important. The little girl spoke up to help the young man. Father must have something to attend to. Father, you should go and see. Sorry, I'll be right back. Come back quickly. Bye, Father. Alone in the room. Now what? I wanted to read with Father. She restlessly tossed and turned. Should I eavesdrop? With that thought, the little girl stealthily followed. A voice said, Currently, Viscount Baldwin and Baron Elgar are visiting. I heard there's a big problem in the territory. Coming in the middle of the night, is it that serious? They say they're at their wits' end because of the epidemic, and they've come to ask Duke Violet for any assistance he can offer. Have they found the cause? Not yet. Shalina, hidden by the door, thought, an epidemic? But why would they come to Father? He's already struggling with so much. Could they be people connected to the ducal family? Where did you take them? I escorted them to reception room 1. Young Master Dylan is with them at the moment. Suddenly, his gaze shifted, landing on his young daughter, standing there. He immediately scooped her up in his arms. I'm sorry, Shalina. It seems I won't be able to continue reading with you tonight. Did someone come? Can I go see? He replied, It's too late, sweetheart. You need to be in bed now. Oh, I understand. Good night, Father. The little girl was carried back to her bed. Ignoring this, Shalina slipped out of bed and ran to the window. A lot of people have arrived. It seems the disease is very serious. Then, she heard her brother call her name. What is it, Dylan? Her brother whispered, Come here quickly. There are a lot of people downstairs. Let's sneak a peek. But if we get caught, we might get scolded. If that happens, I'll take all the blame. Come on. Nina, the night attendant, intervened. That's not allowed. Dylan whined. Why? Why we always get caught in the hallway? It's time for bed. He picked up his sister, ignoring Nina. I'm going with Shalina. If Winder finds out I carried you, I perfectly slashed 1,000 times today, so I can carry you anytime. New horizons, a bright future. This is a secret adventure. Let's go, Shalina. Seeing him so delusional, Nina could only shake her head. Dylan carried his sister, Shalina, followed by Duchess Eloise, who trailed behind them for their protection. Meanwhile, Violet was in a tense meeting with the elders. One of them reported, People in the territory are dying. If this continues, it's bound to spread throughout the entire duchy. We must quickly find a countermeasure. Dylan and Shalina, brother and sister, stood curiously at the crack in the door, eavesdropping on their father's meeting. Another elder spoke. At first, everyone just complained of high fever and vomiting, but on the third day, blood started pouring from their bodies. Violet was extremely worried. What are we going to do? The doctors don't know the cause, so finding that is the most urgent matter. Whatever it takes, we must find a cause. Hearing this, the elder stammered, Please help us, Your Grace. Shalina, having overheard parts of the conversation, pondered for a moment. It seems to be a highly fatal infectious disease. The symptoms are too familiar. Suddenly, Dylan spoke up. It looks like a major epidemic has broken out. Everyone in the room heard his voice and turned to look at the two children. Shalina froze, hurriedly trying to quiet Dylan. Then Duke Violet stood up. Please excuse me for a moment. Seeing their father slowly approaching, Dylan and Shalina paled. They dared not move, sweating profusely as their father began to speak. Then, with an angry expression, Violet rebuked. Eloise, this is a matter of great responsibility for the Duke. Don't you understand? Eloise, understanding the gravity of the situation, bowed her head and apologized. Seeing her father scold the Duchess, Shalina tried to explain. It's not like that, Father. I begged her to bring me because it was noisy outside and I couldn't sleep. It's my fault. Hearing this, Dylan spoke up in her defense. Shalina did nothing wrong. If you're going to scold someone, scold me. It was me who kidnapped Shalina and brought her here. Violet's expression softened, and he asked gently, do you two want to stay with me? The siblings' eyes brightened, sparkling. Yes. He instructed Eloise, don't get carried away next time. She bowed her head and replied, yes, your grace. Gentlemen, Violet said, introducing his children to the guests. This is Earl Baldwin and Baron Edgar, lords of the Eastern Territories. And this lovely child is my daughter. The little girl cheerfully said, I'm Shalina Violet. It's a pleasure to meet you both. Please, continue your conversation. I'll stay here quietly. The two gentlemen praised the well-behaved. Such well-behaved and adorable children. Well then, shall we continue? Baron Edgar said, his voice grim. Though the cause is unknown, everyone is dead, covered in blood. The entire village is drenched in it. Drenched in blood, like a lake. That's the Ruby Lake disease. Violet realized where she'd heard of it before. Izila resolved the incident with her psychic powers. That's how she was praised as a saint. But why would this disease appear now? According to the information in the book, the Ruby Lake disease was something that appeared in the middle of the original story. That place doesn't belong to the Duke's territory either. It belongs to a territory under the Empress's faction. In fact, the Ruby Lake disease was an incident caused by poison. Violet recounted the details from her memory. While investigating the source of the disease, my father confessed to Izila and was then beheaded. When he became the new Duke, it was Izila's mesmerizing power. Shalina trembled, frightened, clutching her father's clothes. Because of psychic powers, father was framed and beheaded. Hearing this, Shalina grew even more afraid. Violet hugged her. Are you hurt anywhere? He told Cahill to bring Baldwin here. The little girl sobbed. No, I'm fine. I'm just a little scared. Dylan wiped her tears. Maybe Shalina's scared because she's still a child. Don't worry. Then she asked, her voice small, what if father and my brothers get sick too? Will the children at the orphanage be all right? Everything will be all right. It'll be resolved soon. Violet said this to reassure her. But she still felt uneasy. Really? What if the damage to the territory becomes more severe and they come to the Imperial City looking for the source of the problem? What if they blame father? Will I lose my family again? Shalina sobbed, and her brothers came to comfort her. Shalina, father will take you back to your room. Or do you want to sleep with me tonight? But the little girl wanted to go with Dylan. He rejoiced internally. I knew Shalina would trust me, but she was actually thinking that he seemed the most carefree. Dylan kindly asked, are you all right? I didn't know you were this scared. Lean on me and sleep tonight. If the disease comes close, I'll blow it away. I'll protect you and not let any illness near you. Can you sleep now? Shalina was still worried, finding it hard to fall asleep. Honestly, she was more worried about her family than getting sick herself. But that's not a disease, it's poison, she thought. Although the location has changed to the Duke's territory, judging by the extent of the damage, the poison must have been poured into the village well. Just like in the original story, there are many strange things happening. I suspect the events are happening years earlier. Izila is still young, so she shouldn't be able to act so powerfully. Why would they poison the well? Could it be? Shalina suddenly sat up. Dylan was surprised. What's wrong? Brother, if someone was framed, who is the real culprit? Why are you suddenly saying that? Shalina said urgently, the book. It's a story from a book I read recently. Dylan crossed his arms, thinking, isn't the real culprit the first person accused? Or, if that person is considered the culprit, who would benefit? Shalina's eyes widened as she looked at him. She reasoned. The first person to point out the culprit was Izila. So, would this situation benefit the Empress? Did she kill an entire village for personal gain? Would Izila become a saint through this cruel play? I don't remember how I even read those documents. The little girl thought, if the events in the original story were orchestrated by two people, then the mastermind this time is the same person. It's clear that the reason the events have suddenly been brought forward is because of me, because I was adopted by the Duke. So, Dylan worriedly asked her, are you all right? At that moment, she kept thinking negatively. Is this happening because they can't marry her spiritual power to their own? She gestured for Dylan to be quiet. What should I do? So, they attacked the Duke's territory where I live? How do I solve this? What should I do? Dylan stared at her. He hugged her, comforting her. It's okay. Whatever happens, I'll protect you, Shalina. The next morning, Freen brought the young girl a bottle of medicine. Shalina held it, her hand trembling. Miss really took the bait. All right, Tell me in detail what happened, Freen. Shalina hesitated, then opened the medicine bottle. Freen handed Shalina a bottle of perfume, saying, "She really took the bait." Freen was scared. "Miss, if I had known she was this kind of person, I would never have associated with her." "So what was it?" Shalina asked her maid. She opened the bottle and, finding the smell unpleasant, immediately covered her nose. "That was close. This could be a dangerous scent. I'll have to be more careful next time." She looked at its color and was surprised. "It's become transparent." Freen continued. "She told me to very carefully hide this in Miss's dressing table. Then she said that Miss would be kicked out of the house. She said anxiously, 'This is clearly dangerous. Just by looking at it, you can tell it's a strange liquid.'" Shalina immediately asked, "I told you to cooperate. Did you follow my instructions?" Freen was embarrassed. Yes. She also said that if I didn't do it properly, she would report me for bad-mouthing Mississippi. She doesn't even know that Miss has already forgiven me. Shalina told her to inform the tutor that she had hidden it. If she asked her to do anything else, she should do it as well. But to let her know that, Freen, I understand. Shalina carefully examined the bottle. "What is this? She wanted me to hide this in my room? Would I be kicked out of the house because of this medicine? What kind of medicine is this?" The young girl looked closer, and she finally figured out what it was. "This is Ruby Lake poison. The mass poisoning deaths occurred in the territory after the Duke adopted me. If that mastermind's poison is found in my room, at best I'll be expelled, at worst executed. However, because of my spiritual power, I'm still valuable, and they won't let me die. The Duchess's status, even for a short time, because I'm still young, compared to execution, the probability of being expelled is higher. After that, if the Empress captures me, it'll be a little different from the original story, but I'll be taken to the Marquis's house again." She kept thinking, if I follow the original story, Shu Yelena will move to the Marquis's house after leaving the orphanage, probably around this time. Capture becomes more difficult because I entered the Duke's house. The hidden poison will be resolved early, in a few years. Nina asked curiously, "What's that bottle? It doesn't look like what you were looking for, Mississippi." She replied, "Freen brought it to me." Nina was bewildered. "Perfume? It's too early for you to use that." "Mississippi," she said, "that's not perfume. It's actually poison. Your Highness," she wondered if it was okay to say this. "Miss Lima told Freen to hide it in my room." Nina was horrified. What is that?" "I don't know either. I think I'll have to ask her myself." Nina, for safety's sake, offered to go in her place, but Shalina was determined to ask herself. Shalina went to see Miss Lima herself. The tutor invited Shalina in. At first, she cheerfully and warmly greeted her tutor. She mentioned that this wasn't the classroom and it wasn't time for lessons. She cheerfully ran inside. "I have something to ask. That's why I came." She took the tutor's hand, but then let go, showing her attitude. Lima apologized, saying she wasn't used to being touched. Shalina cheerfully replied, "It's okay." She looked around, noticing the lack of belongings. Is she planning to escape immediately after poisoning me? Suddenly, she saw an open suitcase. The young girl asked, "Are you going somewhere?" Lima just smiled. Shalina gasped. It seems she doesn't intend to answer. The young girl continued, "It's nothing else, it's this." She took out the bottle. "I found this in my room. I was curious what it was." Shalina observed her tutor, Miss Lima's, attitude. Her expression remained calm. "I don't know either. Why is the princess asking me?" Miss Lima inquired further. "You don't know? I thought you would definitely know." Miss Lima adamantly denied it. Miss Lima looked closely at the bottle, realizing it was poison. Shalina continued, "I think the smell is exactly the same as the perfume you use." "Tutor." Suddenly, Freen opened the door and called for the tutor. "Miss Lima." Miss Lima cried out, "You can't even manage to hide in a child's room?" Freen panicked. She stammered, and Miss Lima frowned. Truly useless. "Oh well, I'll just have to bear with it." "Shalina," she yelled, "what are you planning to do?" Miss Lima scowled, enraged. "How did you know this was poison?" Shalina resolutely interrogated her. "Did the Empress order you to do this?" Miss Lima yelled at Freen. Freen flinched, trembling with fear, and hesitantly agreed. "She told me to come here, quickly snatch the bottle, and tie her hands." Freen obeyed. "Tutor Lima, what are you trying to do?" Shalina shouted in despair. Freen still tied the little girl up. Shalina remembered the luggage trunk. She realized it was big enough to fit her. "You were planning to kidnap me from the beginning, weren't you? You're a truly bad person." Miss Lima tightened the ropes, saying resentfully, "Bad person? You're the bad one. You poisoned the Duke's territory, causing widespread death, and you dare to run away? You wicked child." She sarcastically pinched the little girl's cheek. Shalina tried to appear strong, staring into her face. Miss Lima looked at Shalina with a sinister gaze. You poisoned the Duke's territory, causing widespread death, and you dare to run away? You wicked child. Shalina was surprised that she could so blatantly blame her. Miss Lima also reminded Freen, if Shalina becomes a runaway murderer, you and I will also become accomplices. Freen stammered. What should I do? As expected, Miss Lima came up with a perfect plan. The Duke's adopted daughter is a cursed child. As soon as she stepped foot in the mansion, rumors spread that people were dying one after another. A few days later, to prove this point, a bottle of poison was found in her room. Shalina finally understood why Miss Lima only chose to meet with those who disliked her. It was to frame her for poisoning and murder. Miss Lima held a cloth and stepped forward, intending to blindfold Shalina. Just then, Violet and Winnie arrived just in time. They stopped Miss Lima's newly formed scheme. Seeing his sister's wrist tied, Winnie worriedly ran over and asked if she was all right. He couldn't help but blame himself. I should have dealt with it right away when you were crying. While comforting Wendy, Shalina heard a cough. As she looked up, she saw Violet choking Miss Lima. Eloise quickly covered Shalina's eyes so she wouldn't have to witness the violence. He furiously questioned, "How dare you threaten my daughter?" Despite struggling to breathe, Miss Lima still pleaded for mercy. Seeing the situation take a turn for the worse, Shalina quickly shouted, "You can't kill her yet." She explained to Violet that Miss Lima was the culprit in the murder case and that she might have the antidote. Furthermore, they had to interrogate her to find out where else she had spread the poison. Violet finally calmed down and ordered Eloise to take Shalina back to her room. Eloise had only taken a few steps, carrying Shalina when they heard scream. "I'm not the murderer. Please save me, miss." It turned out to be Wendy, pointing his sword at Freen, intending to kill her. Shalina pleaded in a low voice, "I want to take Freen with us too." When he firmly disagreed. "Even if it's your request, this time I think I have to put her in jail." Shalina still couldn't bear to see Freen locked up like this. She had no choice but to say that Freen had approached Miss Lima's spy at her request. Rewinding a few hours, Shalina, Nina, and Freen were discussing their strategy. Shalina would personally go to see Miss Lima. About 10 minutes later, Nina would bring Violet or Wendy to the room. Freen would follow Shalina into the room and pretend to be on Miss Lima's side to see her true intentions. Everything went exactly according to Shalina's plan. Back in the present, Shalina tried to persuade Wendy. "She was just faithfully following my orders." Freen looked at Shalina, tears of gratitude welling up in her eyes. Freen had finally safely returned to Shalina's side, even happily brushing her hair. Even though everything was over, Freen still couldn't help but reproach herself. "I thought Shalina would abandon me." But Shalina not only hadn't abandoned her, but had also covered up her mistake. Freen now clearly recognized her error. "Just for bad-mouthing, miss, you could have punished me, but you generously forgave me, someone who only thought of her own benefit." Freen couldn't help but exclaim, "You truly are an angel, Mississippi." At that moment, Wendy also rushed over to check on Shalina. He was only concerned with whether they had found the antidote or if the mastermind behind it all had revealed any useful information. Wendy was still more worried about Shalina's condition. She knew that if she didn't answer, Wendy would keep asking, so she simply assured him that she was truly all right. Wendy then answered Shalina's question. "We still don't know who the mastermind behind this is." Hearing this, a look of sadness crossed Shalina's face. Suddenly, Wendy whispered in her ear, "I think it might be the Empress." Shalina felt helpless. Even if she knew who the mastermind was, there was no way to fight back in their current situation. They couldn't confront the Empress. If they approached carelessly, they would be committing the crime of provoking the royal family. Shalina put aside the matter of the mastermind for the time being and asked Wendy if they had found the antidote. Wendy fell silent. "There's no antidote for this poison." Shalina worried. "Then how do we treat them?" Wendy was furious. "That person never considered the consequences from the beginning. What do we do to detoxify them now? Doesn't the royal family have a responsibility to care about the people? The people shed blood. They're slowly dying. Even if they're the Duke's subjects, they are still citizens of this country. This is absolutely unforgivable." Wendy gently stroked Shalina's head. "Father will be here soon. He will decide the punishment and then arrange to see you. You were almost kidnapped today. This is not a trivial matter." Shalina simply thought it was the culprit, so she wanted to confront her personally. Because she had previously sent someone to call her brother and father, she thought nothing would happen. Just then, Violet suddenly appeared at the door, questioning, What if the person who kidnapped you was a mage? What if they took you away before I arrived? Shalina tried to explain. It wasn't like that. But Violet showed no sign of stopping. What if that knife was held to your neck? What if they poured poison into your mouth? You could have been seriously injured. Shalina knew, but for everyone's sake, she was still willing to sacrifice herself. At least thanks to that, they got information. If she hadn't acted, no one would have suspected Miss Lima. Violet coldly interrupted. No one wants their little daughter to gather information. Hearing this, Shalina was speechless for a moment. Violet was truly frightened. If anything had happened to Shalina, he definitely wouldn't forgive himself. This wasn't what Shalina wanted. Compared to saving many people, Shalina just didn't want her father to suffer. So with tears in her eyes, she apologized to Violet. Seeing his daughter like this, Violet couldn't bear to scold her anymore. He opened his arms and hugged Shalina. She ran straight into his embrace without hesitation. After this incident, the bond between father and daughter grew even stronger. That evening, Violet read Shalina a bedtime story and tucked her in early. Just before drifting off, Shalina piped up again. Today, Payav will find the herb and cure the illness, right, Papa? In the book, little pig Payav found the herb and sniffed it. Diverse fragrances gently brushed past Payav's nose. Shalina pondered for a moment. Nectar? It can make the poison in the body flow away instead of staying in one place, just like a scent passing by, without lingering. The more Shalina thought about it, the more reasonable it seemed. If there's no poison in the body, it's like not being poisoned at all. Wouldn't the pain disappear? Then, if you want to safely get it into the body, there's only one way. Shalina glanced at the poison bottle on her nightstand. You have to curl up the poison like this, and then push it out. Shalina's spiritual power allowed her to make things she imagined a reality. As long as she concretely imagined something, anything would come true. Suiting action to thought, Shalina asked Violet for the poison bottle. She would use the poison as a medium to find the poison within everyone's bodies and then force it out. The object containing and removing the poison had to be small and edible, preferably round, to contain the poison. So, Shalina began to transform the poison in her hand into small pills, so that it would be easier for everyone to swallow. Violet watched in astonishment as the pills floated in midair. Shalina brought them to Violet. Papa, you can give these to the poison people. It will help separate the poison in their bodies and expel it. You have to give this to everyone quickly. Before she could finish speaking, she fainted in Violet's arms. In her slumber, she murmured, "Everything will be all right, right? I hope Father won't feel tired anymore." Violet couldn't hide his emotions. Thanks to you, I don't feel tired anymore. Seeing Shalina so small, not even fully grown, yet striving to worry about him, Violet was truly touched. As expected, everything went smoothly. Shalina even made it into the newspapers. Nina and Freen stood beside her, proud of the outfit they had chosen for Shalina, which looked incredibly cute. Even Shalina had to admit it. Through this article, Shalina officially announced her presence to the world. At the same time, it also included the story of how she helped everyone create glass beads, without mentioning her spiritual powers. Thus, Shalina suddenly became a talented young duchess. Furthermore, with Violet's efforts, the situation was resolved. At least, Shalina heard that the ducal family's image within the territory was improving compared to before. Nina informed Shalina, "I heard that the ducal family bought a lot of newspapers in the market this time." Freen added, "The newspaper editor is delighted. I heard your article is very popular, and they printed many more copies." Shalina wondered, wasn't it enough to just buy the necessary amount? Freen explained, "It's an article about you, Mississippi. It seems the Duke is collecting them." Hearing the maid's words, Shalina unconsciously recalled the conversation between Wendy and Violet yesterday. When she heard them mention the newspaper and such, Shalina thought they were planning to enter the newspaper business. She suspected Violet had bought the entire newspaper company because of her. No kidding. Even though she felt everyone was overdoing it, Shalina couldn't help but feel happy. The next second, she immediately had Nina and Freen dress her beautifully, so she could go out on the streets. Shalina cheerfully called out, "Papa, this way." Violet helplessly hurried after her. "If we don't finish today, we can go another day. Don't run anymore." Shalina was a little worried. She knew Violet was busy. Every night, after reading her a bedtime story, he would go back to work. Violet, aware of Shalina's anxiety, gently comforted her. I'm a strong knight, so I won't be defeated by fatigue or anything else. Shalina was reassured. This trip was to commemorate the resolution of the incident, so she had to properly enjoy this time with her father. They arrived at a candy shop. The shopkeeper, seeing them, startled, began to tremble. Shalina couldn't understand what her father had done to make the person shake so. Her father wasn't a bad person. Though surrounded by the so-called curse of the Grand Duke's family, he wasn't troubled in the slightest. Seeing Violet remain calm, Shalina couldn't help but feel a pang of pity. Has father gotten used to this? So many people have avoided him until now, but he doesn't seem to care. Violet gently asked Shalina, "What's wrong, my child? Shall I read the names of these candies for you?" In truth, he had been paying attention to the shopkeeper's attitude, but because today was their father-daughter day, he didn't want to sour his mood in front of his daughter. The shopkeeper, still slightly trembling, said, "If there's anything you'd like to purchase, please let me know." Shalina, thinking the mint flavor wouldn't be too sweet, felt her father would like it. Without hesitation, she recommended it to Violet. Violet tasted it and found it agreeable. Shalina excitedly told the shopkeeper, "Wrap up all the mint-flavored ones for me." Then, without waiting for Violet to pay, she took out her own purse and paid. She instructed the shopkeeper to pack a separate portion for them to take away and to have the rest delivered to the Grand Duke's mansion. Shalina, holding the newly purchased box of candies, walked out of the shop with Violet. She turned to Violet and said, "I'm really grateful to you, father." Because this was the first thing she had bought for him, Shalina truly wanted to give it to Violet directly. The reason she gave him mint candies was so he could eat them while working and stay alert. Just then, a stranger suddenly bumped into Shalina, causing the candy box to fall to the ground. Coincidentally, it rolled to a stop in front of the stranger. Shalina stared at the stranger's face, feeling as if she had seen them somewhere before. A sudden bad feeling washed over Shalina. Her feet wanted to move towards the candy box and pick it up, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. Shalina wondered, could it be someone I've met before? Violet gently patted Shalina's head. "Wait a moment, I'll pick it up for you." The stranger's eyes were fixed on Shalina from the very beginning. As the stranger and Violet drew closer, Shalina felt inexplicably uncomfortable. Seeing Violet say something to the stranger, Shalina wondered if they knew each other. After a moment, Violet returned to Shalina's side. He picked her up and they left. Shalina looked back at the stranger, then back at Violet. The stranger was none other than the Emperor. Upon hearing that the Grand Duke had captured the Empress's spy, he secretly sent someone to investigate the reason the Empress had sent a spy to the Grand Duke's mansion. The first report was that the spy had visited an orphanage, and strangely, that orphanage only housed girls. At that moment, a bad premonition flashed through the Emperor's mind. Shulb, the son he had always imagined, might not be his son. Afterward, he gathered all the rumors about a 6-year-old girl from the orphanage the spy had visited. The most recent news was that the girl had been adopted by the Grand Duke's family. The person sent to investigate reported that the child's name was Shalina. Only then was the Emperor certain that the child was not Shulb. If it were a boy, the name would be Shulb, and if a girl, Shalina. The child's names had been raised and chosen together with his wife. Although he didn't understand why his lost child was named Shalina, the girl had been living with the name they had given. The Emperor couldn't help but blame himself. If he had found her sooner and properly protected her, she wouldn't have grown up in an orphanage. The more he thought about it, the less he could leave it alone. In order to see Shalina as soon as possible, the Emperor didn't hesitate to journey to the Grand Duke's territory. He wondered if he found his child, what should he do first? Call her name? Embrace her? Or say, "I am her father"? What would she say when she saw him again? Would she say she missed him? Or resent him for only now coming to find her? When he finally saw Shalina, the Emperor recognized her instantly. Just one glance was all it took to confirm that Shalina was his daughter. But beside Shalina stood the Grand Duke, Violet, claiming to be her father. The word father reminded the Emperor that his child had been adopted by the Grand Duke's family. The mere word father, and the years he hadn't been able to protect her, ached in his heart. Violet greeted him first. "Have you been well?" The Emperor politely replied, "It's been a while, Grand Duke." Inwardly, he thought, his demeanor truly lives up to his reputation as the cold-hearted Grand Duke. Violet. Although the Emperor didn't know why Violet had adopted Shalina, he assumed that with Violet's personality, reclaiming Shalina should be easy. Looking at Shalina, the Emperor made up his mind. He would definitely take her back. Violet, silent until now, finally spoke, asserting his claim. "Shalina is my daughter. The emperor stared at Violet in surprise. Clearly, the Grand Duke knew Shalina was a member of the royal family. So why this attitude? He clenched his fist, realizing Violet had no intention of returning his child. The emperor warned, "She is a princess, a blood relative of the royal family." Violet immediately questioned, "Then why did you let her live in such hardship? For 6 whole years, you neither found her nor protected her." The emperor didn't understand. "My child lived in hardship. The orphanage had seemed adequate and warm, the children happy." So he had always assumed that even though Shalina grew up in an orphanage, she certainly hadn't grown up unhappy. Finally, Violet left him with just one sentence. "Are you going to claim your right as her father now?" Hearing this, the emperor was speechless. He could only helplessly watch as Violet led Shalina away. The emperor silently screamed, "Don't go, Shalina. Please look this way, even just once." Throughout Violet and Shalina's outing, the emperor followed and observed them. He realized that Shalina truly was happy, not in his arms, but in the Grand Duke's. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. His child was alive. How dare they say she was dead? They even changed her gender, preventing him from finding her. From the beginning, he had considered the Empress a woman he couldn't associate with, but even Amelia Hera's personal physician of the past 10 years had lied. The Emperor had trusted her, just like Jerez. She had affirmed with certainty it was a prince. The Empress had said the prince was stillborn, but he had been born perfectly healthy. The Empress had died after giving birth, so a servant had been responsible for caring for the prince. They had informed the Empress of the prince's death, and then held a funeral according to customary traditions. The Emperor and Lucas had both sensed the child's spirit power, so they hadn't doubted Amelia's claim that Shalina, believed to be a boy named Shulb, had been born. But if she dared to collude with the Empress in this matter, he would turn over every stone to find her and kill her. After 6 long years, the Emperor had finally found his lost child. The Emperor silently resolved, "I will definitely bring my child back." The scene shifted to a royal banquet. As the elaborately dressed Azella appeared amidst a flurry of compliments, she smiled outwardly, but inwardly cursed, wondering where her parents were. She excitedly thought, "If only my brother were here. Everyone would see us as a pair of cute siblings." Lost in her fantasies, Azella foolishly smiled to herself. Then, Azella secretly calculated, with Father's decree, to find someone with spiritual power. Even the most foolish people would hide their children because of their abilities. How dare they steal the spiritual power that rightfully belongs to me? Thankfully, there are still some brilliant stones left. But what about the future? If an ambitious child appears in this capital after hearing Father's decree, then no matter how sad and resentful I am, I must get along with them harmoniously. Commoners are greedy and foolish. Only a kind and gentle princess like myself can tolerate them. Azella continued to fantasize. Being a perfect princess is so tiring. Now I must begin my preparations. Azella gathered everyone and announced, "I have something to show you all." She used her spiritual power on a caged bird and ordered, "You cannot fly out yet. Sing a song." The bird immediately began to sing, its melodious voice echoing throughout the hall. Those around her began to exclaim, praising Azella as if she were a spirit of the forest. Then, Azella ordered the bird to fly to the person who cheered the loudest and give them a gift from her. The bird subsequently flew around the hall, landing on the hand of a small girl. After the performance ended, Azella began to talk business. "Has anyone heard about my father searching for someone recently?" A boy around Azella's age quickly replied, "Is it about discovering a new member of the royal family who can sense spiritual power? That's a blessing for the empire." Azella glared. He doesn't understand the emperor's psychology at all. What blessing? She intended to embarrass the boy so he wouldn't be able to show his face in public again. First, Azella pretended to continue the conversation. Then, while no one was looking, she forcefully shoved the boy's shoulder. Caught off guard, the boy spilled juice all over himself. Azella acted as if nothing had happened, continuing to chat with the others. "If that person hasn't appeared by now, they're probably not noble." The others agreed. "A royal raised among commoners. How pitiful." Azella scoffed. A distant royal raised among commoners with unknown origins could also be an illegitimate child born outside the royal family. How can I accept such a person as my equal? After all, they were just commoners raised like beggars. But on the surface, she put on a saintly expression. How pitiful. I want to quickly help that person. Hearing the empty praises, Azella became even more confident. This way, even if that person comes to the capital, everyone will unconsciously treat them like a commoner. Meanwhile, Shalina suddenly told Nina that she wanted to go to the Duke's archives because she wanted to learn about the history of the Duke's family. According to the novel, the Empress and Azella would commit more evil deeds, and Shalina had to deal with them herself to raise her standing. Her advantage was knowing the novel's contents. By using this to block or preemptively seize the means by which they committed crimes, the Empress and Azella would have no opportunity to create a positive image for themselves. The Duke would naturally gain a good reputation. If Shalina's memory was correct, the next event would be the appearance of a white monster in Monster Mountain. So, Shalina needed to research materials about Monster Mountain. Upon arriving at the archives, Shalina, wanting to be alone, politely dismissed Nina. Nina politely said, "If you need anything, please call me anytime," and then left. Shalina could finally search for books at ease. The books here were arranged according to the era of the ancestors. Shalina felt it would be easier to find them if they were arranged alphabetically, but she felt something was strange. Shalina had learned to read from the maids only after being captured by the Duke, so how could she read now? However, that wasn't important right now. Monster Mountain was the top priority. While searching, a book was suddenly pushed out from the side. Shalina quickly noticed the movement. Though scared, she had to check what it was. If it were an intruder, she would call for help. So, Shalina followed the trail to where the book had fallen. There was a gap where the book had been pushed out. Through the narrow gap, Shalina saw a strange boy. She immediately recognized the child. She proactively asked, "Who are you?" The boy didn't seem to intend to answer. Seeing the boy about to disappear, Shalina hurriedly chased after him. But when she reached where the boy had been, he had already disappeared. Shalina wondered if she had seen a ghost. She cautiously looked around, repeatedly muttering, "Ghosts aren't real." To comfort herself, lost in thought, Shalina was pulled back by a powerful force. Suddenly, a voice echoed. "A passage to another world has appeared." Hearing this, Shalina startled. She picked up the book. She had never heard of another world, but since it was in the Grand Duke's family archives, it must be an important document. Shalina carefully placed the book on the table to read. There might be some important information inside. The book read, "A passage to another world has appeared in the forest. Mana tends to move from denser areas to less dense areas. The mana of the entire world is constantly being sucked into the passage to another world." Shalina guessed that the forest mentioned here must be Monster Mountain. Then she wondered, was it that boy who dropped this book? Why does he keep helping me? Shalina tried calling out, "Are you still there?" But of course, there was no reply. Despite this, Shalina still thanked the boy for his help. She continued reading. As matter accumulates, the forest becomes a place where magic is easy to use but difficult to detect. Furthermore, the phenomenon of animals and plants turning into monsters has been discovered. This is a phenomenon similar to when matter accumulates in the human body and the person becomes a transcendent. In return, there seems to be a wall preventing the monsters from escaping. However, about a week before the new year, monsters appeared in droves. This is the responsibility of the Violet family. Shalina's guess was correct. The forest here was indeed Monster Mountain. However, she didn't understand why the Grand Duke's family had to take responsibility. Shalina didn't know the details, but she might know why the Empress chose Monster Mountain as the crime scene. Because it was a place where mana converged, it was easy to cast magic. According to the novel, the monster that appeared in the forest was like a tiger. If it was that big, Violet should have already subdued it. Because it was a monster that appeared after the conquest, Violet wasn't prepared. Usually, starting from the New Year festival, monsters wouldn't appear. When people felt at ease, the damage was even more severe. Shalina calculated, should I request a conquest even after the New Year festival? But when I reveal the future, people will wonder why I made such a request. They fought each other in the Imperial City, so why would the people of the Empire and the Grand Duke become crime targets? Was the Imperial family's responsibility. Shalina slapped herself to regain her composure. Everything will be all right. There's still time. Only Shalina knew what the monster looked like, so she had to do something. As soon as Shalina stepped out of the door, she saw Freen waiting outside. Even if Shalina didn't ask, this was still her job. Freen asked, "There's still time before dinner. What will you do?" It was getting late, so Shalina decided to investigate this matter tomorrow. But it would be better to prepare early, so she asked Freen to call Wendy to help her. After a while, Wendy appeared in Shalina's room. She held the information Shalina had requested. Shalina hadn't expected Wendy to finish in just 3 hours. The document contained all the information on Magic Tower mages who had visited the Grand Duke's territory. Wendy couldn't help but ask, "You need this because of her, right?" Shalina explained, "Master Lima has been captured, but the people behind it are members of the royal family, so they can't be caught. The Empress poisoned the Grand Duke. Since she knows I'm here, something else might happen. I'm using a mage as an errand runner, as a precaution." Wendy also felt that something was amiss about Lima's incident. Shalina's abilities were strong, so she believed that if anything happened this time, Shalina would handle it herself. But it was too dangerous. Wendy tried to persuade her. "If it's not something you wondered about while studying, but for that reason, it's best not to get involved in dangerous things. Even if you're concerned, you shouldn't act on your own, because father and brother will take care of it." Shalina softly said, "This is my business, too." Wendy added, "But if you get hurt, our whole family will be heartbroken. No matter what happens, you must tell me. We're family. So protecting you is the most important thing. Do you understand?" Shalina softly replied, "Yes, I understand." The document Wendy gave her mentioned the White Tower, one of the Empress's forces. A mage from a white magic tower, which mainly used healing magic, was loitering near the Grand Duke's territory. Considering the timing, the Empress might have sent them to Monster Mountain to create monsters. The book in the archives said that when enough mana accumulated, even animals and plants could turn into monsters. However, after the conquest ended, there wasn't much time left to create monsters. If monsters were created during the conquest, there was a risk of being caught. Even if it took time, the plan was to slowly proceed through the monster transformation process, so it could be completed after the conquest. Shalina had to tell Violet about this. Shalina wondered, would father and my brothers let a child like me go into the forest alone? She had also promised Wendy, so she couldn't sneak away. Was there a way to get her father and brothers to take her? Just then, Nina suddenly ran in and asked if Shalina was tired. Nina couldn't believe Shalina was sitting at her desk like this after reading a book from the archives. Then she advised Shalina not to overwork herself. Hearing Nina's words, Shalina suddenly had an idea. If she said she wanted to study the forest, perhaps they would agree. So Shalina asked Nina to prepare some paper and gem dust to make invitations. At dinner, Shalina mustered up her courage to speak. She said she had something to discuss. Violet reminded Shalina to finish her food so she could grow, but Shalina insisted on talking about it. Shalina took out the stack of invitations hidden under the table, a little nervous, as this was something she had never done before. Shalina boldly held the invitations in front of everyone and said, "My birthday is coming soon. I made these because I want us to spend time together." It was the first time she had said she wanted to celebrate her birthday. Shalina was a little nervous, wondering if everyone would accept. Wendy and Dale excitedly asked, "Your birthday is coming soon? Is your birthday on New Year's?" Shalina explained, "That's not my birthday. Perhaps it's the day I was found at the orphanage, so it will be my birthday." Violet gently complimented, "Such pretty cards, shoo shoo." Shalina was also happy that everyone seemed to like them. Then, the three of them suggested 3 options to celebrate her birthday: throwing a grand party, giving her the most expensive gift in the world. Violet even wanted to use Shalina's birthday as an excuse to skip the New Year's festival. Shalina shyly waved her hands. "As long as everyone spends time with me on my birthday, will be enough. Actually, there's something I'd like you all to help me with," Shalina said sincerely. "I haven't been a part of the Grand Duke's family for very long, have I? So I want to learn about the family history. History is the root of the Grand Duke's family." She thought they would readily agree, but harsh reality threw cold water on Shalina's hopes. Everyone strongly objected, saying it was too dangerous. Shalina could only try to plead. "I'll only go to the safe entrance, and everyone will protect me. Can't we do it this way?" Shalina looked at Violet with sparkling eyes, knowing that if she could convince him, everything would fall into place. Of course, this trick was very effective. In the blink of an eye, Violet agreed. He turned to his 2 sons and said, "This is the first gift Shalina has asked for. I'm not asking you to clear the entire forest. I'm just asking you to go with her. So can you do that?" Then he turned and patted Shalina's head. "I decided to raise Shalina so she could do anything she wanted. Shalina, do whatever you want. I'll be behind you protecting you. In return, you absolutely cannot act alone. You must unconditionally stay by my side." Shalina rushed to hug Violet. "I definitely will stay by your side, father." She told herself that she would definitely protect this place, her father and brothers. She would protect everyone. After entering Monster Mountain Forest, Violet turned to Shalina and asked, "What do you think? It's not like you imagined. Nothing, right?" Shalina vaguely sensed something outside the entrance, but once inside, the feeling grew stranger, like something was beckoning her, making her heart race. Seeing Shalina pause, Wendy immediately turned back and asked her what was wrong. Shalina just smiled and replied, "It's nothing." Shalina simply thought it was her mood, and there was no need to worry needlessly. Suddenly, she felt something rush straight towards them. Was it a monster or something else? They didn't know.